This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Toga, 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 toga.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
No toga parties here, just too busy all the time to have that fun and frolic. And so we are ready to get out of here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show, live from Brooks Robinson Plaza, right here at Wellspan Park. This sounds good to say that every day, Mark, because we have this expansive stadium, and we're the only ones here right now. I mean, we are in charge of everything here. At least we like to think we are, just for a moment or so. Well, actually not very much, just a fraction of all that. But, we're in charge of this, and we are so glad you could join us this morning here for the Gary Sutton Show. The main street of York in York County. We love to think we're part of the voice of York County and thinking about the things you're talking about as well and giving you some... some perspectives on that, some truth, some news, some fun, and a little joviality along the way. I am Gary Sutton, Mark McKenzie here this morning, all brought to you by our presenting sponsors who are kindnessworldwide.org. Why not you? Why not us? Why not right now? What can we do to bring a little bit more kindness into the world today? Is there anybody who would argue with that maybe we could do that? It's not a bad idea. Is anyone saying, no, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. We got enough. I haven't heard anybody say that yet. So spread a little kindness around today. Do something nice for someone. Doesn't matter how small it is. We can make it a little better place. Ann Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law at 117 East Market Street right here in York, is our great place to go for estate planning, estate administration, family law, elder law, municipal law, military law, business law. It's all right there for you at 117 East Market Street right here in York. Our back nine text line is open for you this morning. The back nine, by the way, is celebrating its first 6 months, Mark, in existence, where golf never sleeps.
And how are they celebrating that?
Well, they are celebrating it in a number of different ways. They have some programs on there, but you can go to theback9golf.com/York-PA and find out what they are doing. They have a number of different things available for you, and I will let you get in there and find all those out this morning. They're located at 259A Pauline Drive out in South York Plaza next to the Giant out there. So they are there for you today. And our question of the day today at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook is this. What do you yearn for most in the United States today? How's that for a simple, open-ended, get a little open field running type question, Mark? What do you yearn for most for our country today? As you think about that this morning, that could be anything. So feel free to get in there and answer that question today. And, of course, our back nine is 833-478-4729, our back nine text line.
Got a couple from yesterday.
Yeah, and we want to hit those this morning. What do you got from yesterday? What's on there?
It says, I don't know exactly who this is, but it says, everyone is Monday morning quarterbacking the soccer game.
Yes.
They were playing great, but hit the wall, those days when nothing goes good.
Right.
Unfortunately, it happened against Belgium. They still played great, and I continue to support them. And this one is...
There's nothing wrong with supporting them, but they didn't play great. I'm sorry. I appreciate the support of them, and I do too. I think, they had a good run, but they did not play great that night. I'm sorry. I'd have to disagree with that one. Go ahead.
Al has a question. Next time Perry is on, I'm cutting this down. Please ask why he's a sponsor of a bill to repeal the 17th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
I'd have to check that out because I don't know. So we'll check on that. What is the 17th Amendment?
That's the one where they made electing senators by popular vote.
Yeah, where they used to be elected by the state legislatures,
Correct.
right? Yeah. I did not see that anywhere, but I will check that out, and we'll see see what it has to say. All right?
Yes.
So there you go. So good. Thank you for your text on that this morning. And don't be afraid of it. If we disagree on something, it's not you're a bad person or anything like that. Just, you get us thinking, and then we have an opinion on that as well. So that's what it's there for, 833-478-4729. And today is National Sugar Cookie Day.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than a good sugar cookie. You know what makes good sugar cookies is Brown's Orchards.
Well, wait. What kind of sugar cookie are we
Those
talking
big,
about?
fluffy, nice, soft inside with a little touch of sugar on the outside, just kind of granulated. And
Yeah, the big puffy ones. Not
not that
thin
flat crap. No, we're not. They don't even make it onto the list, do they? I mean, you can't call that a sugar cookie.
I don't know. I prefer the flatter kind, actually.
Really?
It seems more like a cookie.
Well, but
The other ones are like a cake.
Well, not really. I think that you can make a cookie out of that.
We diverge, sir.
Yeah, it's a good cookie.
It's more like a
It
cake.
does have a more cakey substance. I would agree with you.
I say it's cake.
But I don't think it crossed the threshold into cakedom. There you go.
What are we doing?
I have no idea. How the hell do we go into these things? Anyway,
That's it. Well,
57 days, by the way, until Labor Day weekend when we can get off again.
I woke up waiting to see if Senator McConnell was still alive, and I find out Bonnie Tyler died.
Yeah,
So
75.
it's going to be one of those days.
By the way, I only took one gummy last night, and
Oh, yes.
I slept straight through to 4:15, which is annoying because I get up at 4:45. So now I've got to take another quarter of a gummy to get that extra half an hour in tomorrow night. And but no, it actually worked. So I didn't take the first gummy, the raspberry one, which puts you to sleep. I took the one that keeps you asleep,
Interesting.
along with my regular medicine I take to go to sleep. So there you go.
So you take 2 medicines now to go to sleep.
Yeah, so exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm drug ridden is what
That's
it is
okay.
when
Well,
it comes
good
to
luck
sleeping.
with that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
not a problem.
It is National Don't Put All Your Eggs in One Omelet Day.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I find that I can eat 3 eggs, but I feel very
Not 4.
I feel very uncomfortable if I eat 4.
Yeah, I go generally with 2 over medium, by the way, which no one gets. No one can make a good over medium egg where you have just a little bit of the touch.
Even
of
describing
the
it sounds bad.
Over medium is good.
No.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, you got a little bit of substance and you got a little bit of yolk. And I mean, it's a nice
If
combo.
it's not scrambled, I don't want it.
No, I'm just saying that.
It's also
Go ahead.
it's Fashion Day.
Yes,
And
which is not in any danger in this room.
Nah, that's for sure.
No.
National No Bra Day.
Also not in any danger in this room, but that for obvious
All right,
reasons.
well, he's not
you
going
know.
to end it.
No, we're
Don't
not
say
going to
any
do that.
more
No.
about that.
I am not going to make any funny jokes about that. I'm not going to say anything about. No, I'm just not.
Don't be a boob.
Well, but we're at such a high level that anything, we're just not going to go there.
Let's go to other things that have happened on this July 9th.
Are you keeping us abreast of other things that
Have
have happened
they?
on this side?
Exactly.
Yeah, there. See,
These things.
other people would do that in radio. We do
Draw
not.
the line.
No, not here.
And it was pretty hard to find some things, but
Okay.
1776
Big year.
Declaration
Yeah, for
of
us.
Independence is read to Washington's troops in New York.
Man, I tell you, every day we have
Yes.
something. The Declaration of Independence every single day
I'm gonna-
had something going on with it.
I'm going to predict that, like, about a week from now,
Right.
it'll be 1776, the first coffee ring on the U.S. Declaration of Independence. Oh, wait. Shouldn't I?
No,
have
it'll be
said
like
this?
next week at this time. The Declaration of Independence was read at Bill Smith's house. It's every day. It's like it was
Something,
read at someone's place. Yeah.
Moving along, on this date, 1795, a guy named James Swan, and I guess we don't know much about this guy, but James Swan personally, himself.
This is unbelievable. I do know this guy.
He decided just on his own, I guess, to pay off the entire national debt of America. And at that time, we owed to France a little over $2 million. So
Now, and the guy went out of his way. Now, today, is there any one person that could pay off the U.S. debt? And the answer is no. No, not even close.
like 39.
Even Elon Musk, who's now our first trillionaire, would go broke paying off a pittance of that.
We're close to 40 trillion, I think, at this point. On this date, 1877, the first Wimbledon tennis championship was held.
Who won that?
And it was men's only.
Men only.
Men's singles only, not even doubles, no women. What's interesting, though, is that they play it on grass. I think it's the last major on grass. They have one, I think, that's on clay.
Yes.
And
that's what Australia.
And the U.S. Open is on, I believe it's macadam.
It's on macadam, yeah.
So it's a hard surface. Either way, it's a hard
some
surface.
kind of, yeah.
So the fastest, I understand, might be the lawn.
Is the lawn faster than the macadam?
I think it slides a little bit.
Oh.
So I could be wrong on that, but the slowest is clay. There's no doubt about that.
That is.
Moving on.
Plus it gets dirty.
1893, surgeon Daniel Hale Williams performs the first successful open heart surgery. He repaired the torn pericardium of a knife wound patient, James Cornish. Here's the thing I think is even more astonishing. Not that he did that and saved this guy's life, but he used it without penicillin or blood transfusion.
Yeah, they said, you want some penicillin and blood transfusion? He said, hell no.
Really?
Hale?
Yeah,
No.
I got it, yeah.
Did I mention?
On this date...
That's what Hale said.
We don't have many today, so just I'm trying to drag this out.
Yes.
On this date,
I've noticed.
in 1914, the Boston Red Sox purchased the future Baseball Hall of Fame slugger Babe Ruth's contract from the minor league Baltimore Orioles.
Yes. Yeah, he was a member of the minor league. Do you know that Babe Ruth's dad's bar, if it were standing today, and I believe Babe Ruth was born above the bar, I believe at a home there, would be sitting in right field of Camden Yards? Did you know that?
I didn't.
There you go.
And then the Red Sox got rid of him.
Yes. He was a pitcher.
Sold him to the Yankees for like $100,000.
And the rest is history.
And then it became the Babe curse.
The house that Ruth built.
And
Yankee Stadium.
the Red Sox didn't win a World Series.
Curse of the Bambino.
2004, something like that.
Yeah, it was called the Curse of the Bambino because they got rid of the Babe.
Speaking of sports, on this date in 1933, the Philadelphia-based Frankford Yellow Jackets changed their name.
To the Philadelphia Phillies.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes, it was. Did I say it was NFL? I might not have.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I might not have been listening. That might have been the problem.
That's what the Eagles were called.
Yeah.
Before was the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, my grandmother lived down near Frankfurt in Philly, one of the neighborhoods. Yeah.
1956 on this date, Dick Clark got a new gig. He began hosting American Bandstand.
Isn't it amazing when you say your grandmother lived down there near Frankfurt? No one cares. Yes. And like you just say it because it just is conscious streaming. I'm sorry I even brought that up. Go ahead.
It happens all the time.
What were you saying? What were you saying there?
Dick Clark.
Dick Clark, yeah.
Got a new job.
Oh.
On this date in 1956, he became the host of American Bandstand.
The Bandstand.
Da-da-da-da-da. On this
Barry
date,
Manilow wrote that song, right?
1971, yes. National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger secretly visits the People's Republic of China because he's trying to negotiate a détente between the U.S. and China. And, of course, famously, Nixon went to China. So this was the groundwork that was laid. You know, these things don't just happen.
Yeah, I read, I guess a lot of times in history, where Nixon was supposedly the best president at understanding the Chinese or somehow getting along with them. And I never quite understood that. But they said that Nixon was very good with the Chinese. And so, whatever.
Yes, on this date, I think...
Not as good with us, but he was good with the Chinese. Yeah,
that's exactly. Yeah. Well, I think he was good with foreign policy to a point.
Yeah.
And, but at home...
Domestic, maybe not as much.
10 years later, on this date in 1981, Nintendo releases something, it's called an arcade game. It's called Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Hugely popular.
Never understood why they called it Donkey Kong because it really didn't have to do much with donkeys, did it?
That's true. But it did have to do with a gorilla.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Yeah, you think of donkeys, you think of gorillas. I mean,
I was not good at it.
I wasn't.
2001 on this date, the mockumentary TV show The Office, created by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, starring Ricky Gervais and Martin Freeman, premiered on the BBC. And of course, they ended up having a U.S. version, which is a cult classic.
It is.
On this date in 2018, I thought this was fascinating. Bright pink, the color bright pink, is determined by scientists to be the world's oldest biological color. They said that pink was first produced by tiny cyanobacteria in 1.1 billion year old marine shale rock that they found in Mauritania on a beach.
What a long way for that one.
That's crazy, though. I mean,
But that is, I mean, to determine that.
Yes.
Again, the fact that somebody probably got paid to do that that's maybe the most frightening part of the story.
And on this date 2 years ago, is it 2? Has it been 3 years?
I don't know.
Kidding.
I'm not sure what the story is.
Barbie premiered.
Okay.
Has it been that long?
I have yet to see that. Yes.
Hey, you didn't miss anything.
Okay. All right. So there you go.
Although it was interesting on a cultural level.
Right. But we do need to get to a break, right? And
yeah, that's it. I'm done.
And we're going to do that. And when we come back,
Revs highlights.
Cool loss last night for the Revs. We'll tell you about that. And also, why do World Cup game balls always get thrown back onto the field instead of being kept like we do with baseball at the major leagues? We'll clear up that mystery for you also here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
The 2-1, and a swing and a fly ball right field. Toward the line goes Devontae Brown on his horse and reaching out in foul ground. He's got it right against the fencing down there. He was virtually out of room, and he had to make a beeline to get there, reached out and made the one-hand grab. Terrific play and foul ground in right. The 2-2, and he swings and chops one deep short. Howell is over to his right. Long throw to first, gets away. It was late. Terry couldn't save it, and it trickles up the line. Done at third. Wolfie waving him. He's going to score, and the Revs lead 2-1. Ray goes to second on it. It'll be an infield hit plus a throwing error on Hal. 1-0. Swing a ground ball. Right side base hit in the hole. Tomo in to score. Jacob Teeter with an RBI single. And the Revs have scored in 3 consecutive innings. They lead it 4-1. They pitch too long. He swings and he rips one. It is a fair ball down the first base line. Past the diving Terry. Teeter scores. Here comes Ross in behind him. And he'll score standing. Shed Long Jr. at second with a 2-run double, and the Revs lead it 6-1 here in the 6th.
And that was the good part. And then Lexington went to work, and they got the lead by the 7th inning. By the 8th inning, by the way, went up 7-6, and the Revs losing 7-6. Their second straight loss there. They are now in a 3-way tie for first in the North Division to start the second half. The Revs fall to 38-30 overall with that 3-2 record. Lexington has won a season-best 5 in a row, leading the South Division with a 5-0 mark to start the second half. So they're still in first place in their part of the Atlantic League. The Revs fall to 32-4. When leading after 7 innings mark, and they fall to 7-11 in games decided in the final at bat. So not a good record there. And while the Revs own a season-high tying 7-game winning streak at home, they have now dropped a season-high tying 4 in a row on the road, having squandered 5 and 6-run leads in 2 of those games. So York falls to 13-19 on the road overall, compared to 25-11 at home. So, and the Revs had gone like 80-45 on the road the last 2 years, so they had been doing pretty well, but not this season. Tonight, though, Braden Scott, who's been pitching beautifully lately, 5-4 with a 4.0 ERA, faces Lexington Southpaw Jack Lynch, 1-1 with a 6.26 ERA, and that will be at 6:45 first pitch, 6:25. Darryl will be on the air with that, and you can catch all the action here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 AM WOYK.
So let me ask you, do you wash your vegetables and your
yes.
Fruits and things?
Always.
Yes. I like to think I do, but when I go out, I'm never 100. I just assume that the restaurant does it, that kind of thing. Anyway, we might have talked about this briefly, but I wasn't feeling that great last week, and it took.
I've got some news on that, by the way.
It took 4 days. It took 4 days to overcome it for me, but not everybody is so lucky.
The name of the parasite is Cyclospora, with Michigan having the largest number of cases, though health officials say cases are growing in neighboring Ohio, and investigations are underway in 28 states into similar illnesses. The source of the infection, which can cause weeks of diarrhea, is not yet known. The CDC says the illness is not usually life-threatening and is typically treated with antibiotics. Outbreaks occur most often in the late spring and summer. Health officials say the best way to prevent infection with a parasite is to avoid food that may have been contaminated, and they say fresh produce should be thoroughly washed before being eaten, though they say Cyclospora can stick to some foods, so washing may not eliminate the risk of infection. Lisa Lacera, Fox News.
I saw where there's only like 1,000 cases in the United States, so I thought it was pretty cool that you might have one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably wasn't cool for you, but I mean, from my standpoint as an observer, I thought, Mark's kind of unusual. He's in a small group.
Two things about it.
Go ahead.
One is that I'm generally very healthy.
You are.
So I've had COVID
Something like
times.
that to happen to you would be unusual.
It's rare, right?
Highly unusual.
And I've had stomach bugs before, but they go away pretty quick. So that's my experience. Well, when it didn't go away, day 1, day 2, day 3, and like, what the heck is going on? Day 4, and then I saw this story from another state, and I thought, good gosh, I'll bet this is it. And I share because I care. I'm going to share.
Could there be any other reason?
Well, it's the key word that I don't think they mentioned. She mentioned diarrhea, but the key word is exploding.
Yeah, that makes things all better.
No, I'm just saying that.
Thanks for that visual.
That was the.
Yeah.
That was the difference. This isn't just, your run of the mill. It had something special with it.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Thanks. I was trying to eat my breakfast. But that's good. By the way, I did see something, and I wanted to follow up with that.
Yes.
Because UPMC Children's Community Pediatrics is seeing a viral stomach bug and allergies this week.
That's it. Yep.
Pediatricians at Penn State Health Golisano Children's Hospital are seeing rashes, insect bites, impetigo, stomach bugs, and swimmer's ear a lot this summer. Hey, having a good summer? Dr. Leah Kay, who's a pediatrician there at Penn State, has said warm, humid weather can often lead to rashes and skin irritation in children. Fortunately, many of these rashes improve with simple home care. However, if the skin becomes very irritated or is broken from scratching, a bacterial infection can sometimes develop. One of the most common skin infections is impetigo.
Impetigo.
Is that what that?
That's how it's pronounced.
Impetigo.
Yeah, if you had like little kids, it's fairly common.
Honey-colored crusting, drainage, or an increasing number of brown or honey-colored spots, including within or around a rash. Anybody eating breakfast? If you notice any of those symptoms, it's important to have your child evaluated by a healthcare provider. Usually, if it's just a small area, it can be treated with prescription antibiotic ointment. If the infection is more widespread, an oral antibiotic may be needed because impetigo is contagious. Prompt diagnosis and treatment can prevent it from spreading to others. But they also mentioned a thing that you had in here as well.
Yeah.
Fever, chills, vomiting, blistering, all that kind of stuff.
Cramping. That was that's the other thing that stood out because I normally don't get that. And wow.
They're also seeing a lot of swimmers here this summer and sporadic strep throat cases. Happy summer, everyone.
Really?
Yeah, when we come back, Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street, joins us here on WOYK. talk about a guy that had a variety of music. This guy would be one of those. Little Prince coming up here.
We begin 1984 bumper music with the number one song of the year.
So 1984. Thank God we're out of that 1996 thing.
I agree.
My God.
I'm going to scratch that.
That was like being in purgatory.
The only good news with 1996 was the Macarena.
The Macarena thing gave us a momentary pause there that we could have fun with. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on a Thursday morning, 6:36. That means it's time for Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street, the all-knowing seer of things of that nature. And he's with us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. I can't hear your bumper me. So you guys were playing some Prince?
I know. We were playing some Prince stuff, coming back. Were you a Prince fan?
Yeah, very much. I mean, he's one of the most talented musicians ever. And you being a basketball guy, do you know how good he was? He was all-state basketball.
I did not know that. He was from Minnesota, right? Am I correct? Yeah.
In his studio there, his Paisley Park studio, he actually has a full-court basketball court. There's a great Dave Chappelle skit. It's a True Hollywood Stories with Charlie Murphy, was Eddie Murphy's brother.
Okay.
Where they basically challenged them in basketball. They couldn't believe it because it was like, we're gonna play shirts versus blouses.
Yeah.
And Prince and his boys destroyed them.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Lest you think you could go pick on Little Prince, right? I mean, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never knew that. We've already. People ought to have to start paying for this show per word. I'm serious. The stuff they get here in the morning is beyond. But I really like that. I mean, I did not know that at all about Prince. So that is very cool. You've given us a great story. That's it. Hey, it's going to be great talking to you, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. No. Anyway, my question today for people out there, and I put it out, what do you yearn for in America today? And I thought I would ask you that question today to kind of start. I'll give you a little chance to do some good open field running, but already you've got the Prince thing in, so you've got that in the bank here. So, what do you yearn for right now as an American and a guy that, deals all over the world with people and things like that?
Let me tell you something. Again, you got to kind of, it's one of the great things I always try to encourage young parents. Don't buy your kids so much stuff. Take them with you. Take them places, travel, experience the world, and see all these great places out there. Let me tell you something. There's a great love for Americans everywhere. And one of the things is we screw up a lot in our 250 years, but we are the greatest self-correcting republic, I think, of all time, quite frankly. But, again, I think we got a lot of correcting that we need to do. I think that, many of the things that we did in the 20th century, even leading into the 21st century, were the antithesis of what the founders wanted. I think we should go back to that. I mean, I don't want to see the direct election of senators. If that was the case, you wouldn't have this Palantir crap going on and other nonsense there. The states should be appointing senators, and we should have more sovereignty to the states, and we got to take more power away from Washington, D.C. I think we need to start correct. But I also most certainly think that we're able to do it.
I saw something yesterday out of the Times Square Chronicles. And I'm reading about the 250th anniversary, the celebration, and it says one of the things that we should be doing is embracing the beautiful and complicated contradictions of a nation built on soaring ideals alongside profound struggles. It's a time to honor the bold pursuit of freedom while acknowledging the country's painful history and ongoing challenges. Now, I wouldn't say they're all beautiful contradictions. Slavery would not fall in that realm. But, when you think about what we had in terms of the soaring objectives that we put out there in the beginning, and yet we fell way short of those. Obviously, we're working for a more perfect union along the way. The fact that we're doing that and trying to make it a more perfect union is really pretty good. Your thoughts on that?
I get up pretty early in the morning, and the first thing I do when I say my prayers is I pray that I'm going to do a better job and be a better person every day.
Right.
You always see these things they put up, with the founding, fathers or whatever it may be. But he was a flawed character. Oh, you're not? And we're all flawed characters.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, matter, or form. And we should all strive every single day to improve. That's the ultimate goal, to be better every single day. And we're going to fall short. We're going to fall flat on our faces. That's just the way it is. And that's why you got to pick yourself up every single day. I think we got to get back to that.
I'm reading a book called Washington Circle right now, and it's about Washington and when he became president and the people who helped him to shape the presidency. And it goes from Alexander Hamilton to Thomas Jefferson to Madison to Monroe to Jefferson, all these different people. And you talk about flawed. I mean, when you get done reading this book, you go, man, these people were cutting each other. Nothing's different today. They were cutting each other out there, writing pieces about each other under assumed names. They were trying to, they were bad-mouthing each other, and then out in public they were being really nice. I said, nothing's changed today. I mean, we think today that, back then they all got along and they all sat down together. It was not so. And so I'm finding out that, when the sausage is made here in democracy, or even representative democracy, it's not very pretty sometimes.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Again, these guys are cutthroat. A lot of them are cutthroat business. These are like the top, these are the wealthiest people in the country that basically, declaration, they signed their death warrants.
Yeah.
Right then and there to try to do this. And again, they didn't have to. They would have still been wealthy. They could have sat back on the laurels. But again, you got to give them credit for that. You're putting, somebody's going to put it all on the line, put their neck on the line for something like that. Think about how many people are willing to do that today, especially people with that type of means, which is extraordinary. I do think, though, the difference is today, and I'm watching it play out right now with this, scandal in Maine, and you get Paxton in Texas and all these places. When you watch different people go on TV and bend over backwards to back their side no matter what.
Right.
We have to all speak the same language. Black needs to be black. White needs to be white. Theft needs to be theft. Rape needs to be rape.
Yep.
Crime needs to be crime, no matter what side you're on. And we can't tolerate it because I'm on this team. Okay?
Yeah.
That's problematic. And this is one of the most revealing things about what we're watching today is I'm watching these people go on TV, bending over backwards, playing Twister to try to, back their side. But what aboutism? Well, what about this? What about that? It's not good on either side.
Right.
And until we can acknowledge that, how do we move forward? But the founders understood that well, too. They didn't believe in the political parties. They knew it would be a disaster.
Well, and the problem was they dealt with political parties. Washington tried like crazy to keep away from that. And yet at the same time, as I'm reading this whole thing about with Madison and Jefferson and Hamilton and that whole crowd, I mean, they had very specifically different ways of doing this country at that time. And they were shaping what we have today in that moment. So, they... But they saw it, Hamilton was much more closely aligned with the monarchy and going in that route, and the federal government does all things. On the other side, you had the Democratic Republicans who say, wait a second, man, the states have to have some room here. We got to make sure that we give them a lot of room to make the decisions. We don't want to trade in, King George III for some new monarch. So you had that going on at that time, which was a legitimate way of looking at things and fighting over that. But, today we seem to have wandered off into these other areas here. But you're so right that truth needs to be truth. And if we're going to look at something like we look at the president supposed to pay the $6 million to E. Jean Carroll for supposedly accosting her in a dressing room back when. Who gets away with that? Who does that? The Plattner guy says, I'm going to drop out up here in Maine for the senatorial race, but don't misconstrue that as being that I'm guilty. It's just that there's people tearing me down from the federal institutions. I'm going like, really? This is it? I mean, any of the rest of us today look at that as regular citizens and go, are we guilty? Are we innocent? But no, on that level, we get all this semantic gymnastics going on right now that we have to kind of play with every day.
Yeah, and again, my guys, remember kids, he was doing it too. I mean, our parents wouldn't tolerate this stuff, and yet we tolerate it. This is a level of debate that we've got going on with these people on TV and these pundits and on the internet, for crying out loud. It's like little kids.
But you know what? You said
like adults.
You said something really important. We tolerate it because to think that our side could somehow be wrong. Now it's not a matter of we're right or wrong. It's a matter of we're less wrong than the other side is. Right? Isn't that what it is? I mean, we're not right, but we don't suck as bad as they do in terms of what they did. You know, we're less wrong than what they are. Therefore, it must be okay, and we can somehow rationalize to ourselves that now everything's okay. And that's one of the problems that we get into, I think, today generally in our conversation, that we've wandered into that because this sidism is so prevalent in the country right now. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, people, guess what? Two things can be true at the same time as well. Yeah, Mussolini made the trains run on time in Italy, but he was also a fascist dictator. I mean, those two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
And again, you got to be able to hold that within your mind. But again, I also think that you have to get to a point in time where virtue matters. It really does.
Right.
Honor matters. Character matters. And I think we need to start putting people like that into positions of power.
Can we ever get back to that? Because there's a sense that you can't get to that level if you have virtue. There's a sense that today, and I mean, I'm sad to say that, but there's a sense today that if you are a virtuous person, how did you get there? I mean, what do you're like? You're like a stranger. You show up and say, I didn't cheat anybody. I didn't screw anybody over. I didn't do it. But there's this sense that if you're a political animal, that you've got to be, pretty calculated. You've got to be pretty vicious, and you possibly couldn't get to that level. What are your thoughts?
I think you can. I think that there's some things that we could do to help us get to that point in time. Way too much money in politics with the lobbyists and how everything is controlled. I mean, they're basically members of Congress. They don't legislate. They just fundraise. You eliminate that. I suggested years ago, again, I want to go back and I want to allow, the states to appoint senators. But, yeah, if you can't give to any candidate here in the country unless you can vote for them, there you go. You keep outside money out of districts. So you don't get, $50 million going into Thomas Massey's district for people that can't even vote for him. That again, it keeps it more local, keeps it more localized within the people there. You're not getting all these outside influences. There's little things that can be done, term limits, various different things that we can most certainly improve upon where we're at right now.
Interesting thoughts this morning, my friend. Hey, we didn't get that anything specific today, but we certainly traveled the gamut of how we think about the country and a little bit of a touch of the 250th. And I look forward to talking to you next week. Have a great rest of your week, okay, man?
Absolutely. And you learned that Prince was a baller. So there you go.
You know what? That itself was worth everything. I mean, and that was like the opening salvo. I mean, I just felt like, was he a point guard or a shooting guard? That's all I want to know.
I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna send you the Chappelle skit. You're gonna watch this. You're gonna be laughing your head off.
Please do. I got to see this. I got to see it. All right. Thanks, buddy. Talk to you in a bit.
You got it. Have a good one.
Thanks, Chris. Chris Markowski, the watchdog of Wall Street of the Gary Sutton Show. I did not know that about Prince, and he was a great basketball player. Did you know that, Mark?
I did not.
I didn't. So we learned something there today. I thought it was interesting about the 17th Amendment that he's saying about state legislatures should pick the senators again. I'd have to think about that a little bit. I've never given that a lot of thought. It's the second time this morning that we've heard the 17th Amendment discussed on this show. So we'll do a little digging on that one, okay? We'll take a break. We'll come right back. More straight ahead, including, I believe, birthdays coming up.
Yep.
Here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
It's really hard. It's much harder than I ever anticipated it would be. You have to essentially act full bore, 100%, standing there with headphones on your head.
All right. Okay, so the setup of this is you're on kind of a little podium. Yeah. Right. This is where
I'm totally in the hands of the directors and the writers on this thing. I'm completely given over to their impetus is what they need.
All right, listen. No one's getting replaced.
Now, they do every line probably 17 times.
Well, no, listen. No one's getting replaced. This is Andy we're talking about.
All those 17 ways different.
Listen, hey. No one's getting replaced. Hey, listen, no one's getting replaced. This is Andy we're talking about.
But the end result is you run the gamut from A to Z on whatever the emotion. Like today, I said the word no. I did a riff on just saying no. And I said no every conceivable way.
No.
Interesting.
That's Tom Hanks, obviously doing. What's the character's name in Toy Story?
Oh yeah, whatever.
Woody. Who could forget Woody?
Yeah. By the way, before you get to birthdays, I think it was Al this morning said about Scott Perry backing a bill to get rid of the 17th Amendment and get it back to state legislators picking the senators, which is the way it originally was. Now you just heard Chris Markowski a moment ago, same thing. I don't think we've ever had the 17th Amendment mentioned the same year, let alone twice in the same show. But I was looking back on why people would be that. And Al was right. Scott Perry does back that bill. That was on the 29th of June that came out. He doesn't want voters directly electing their U.S. senators. So rather than assume why he did that, I like to go back and see what the thinking was. The resolution would return that power to state lawmakers. Supporters of the bill said the current system has led to expansive and circus-like campaigns and weaker state governments. Quote, and the guy who introduced the resolution is a guy named Keith Self, S-E-L-F, out of Texas, who introduced the resolution. He said, quote, our founding fathers designed the Senate to protect state sovereignty and act as a check on federal overreach. And this is his thinking, by the way, this is not necessarily mine, but if senators are supposed to represent their states, then the states should choose them. Repealing the 17th Amendment will restore the constitutional balance and make the Senate more accountable to the people of Texas and every other state in the Union. And so I don't know. Eric Burleson, Andrew Clyde, Paul Gosar, Andy Harris, Clay Higgins, Sherry Biggs, and Michael Cloud also joined Perry in co-sponsoring the legislation. The idea you take it out of the hands of the people, you put it back in the hands of the state legislators who are elected by the people, but a much more narrow group to choose this looks to me like, I'm not really sure you're taking it away or you're giving it back to the people. You're giving it back to a group of people who control the state legislature. I mean, I'm just on first blush. That's
the way
it
looks.
I mean, that's another point of view. So, maybe to be discussed further later on. But I know you have some birthdays.
Birthdays. Tom Hanks is 70 today. Just
talk about an array of work that guy's done.
I mean, from AIDS patient to
on the Philadelphia
World War
Story.
II, landing
Sergeant
at D-Day,
Private
Saving
Ryan.
Private Ryan. Yeah, I mean, it's just so many good roles.
Castaway, Sleepless in Seattle, Forrest Gump.
Yes.
I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah, he's just a likable character.
League of Their Own.
So 70 years old today. I didn't know he was.
First time I ever saw him in a movie called Bachelor Party, which I think was one of the first movies he was in. And he played this idiot. I mean, he was like a funny guy in this, but he's just a goofball. But you would have never thought this guy would turn into a serious actor. I mean, he is one of the best, if not the best.
That's the role he was playing on TV. He had a short-lived situation comedy where he was a roommate and dressed as a woman to kind of get into to be able to live there, because I guess it was in a college. Kind of a goofy thing. I was lucky enough to see Tom Hanks in a preview performance of a play that I think he produced. And it was about one of the early, big newspaper writers.
Right.
And he was on stage for most of the time and had pretty good seats, too. And he's a consummate professional.
Oh, he's amazing. And he was even in one of those. Remember, he was a traveling guy with the newspaper. He'd read the newspaper in various towns.
News of the World.
News of the World was another. I mean, he's been in, you name a topic, he's probably covered it somewhere in a film, right?
Some other birthdays today. Kelly McGillis is 69.
Top Flight or
yes, Top Gun.
Yeah.
She kissed Tom Cruise in one movie and Harrison Ford in Witness in another.
Yeah, she was quite a look in Witness, by the way. Yeah.
These days, Courtney Love is 62.
Where someone who's lived hard. Ooh.
John.
She was married to that singer that committed suicide, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. John Tesh is 74. Remember, he used to. He was the male anchor on E.T.
Yes. Yes. There you go.
Other actors, Jimmy Smits.
Oh, yeah.
71. He was
Hill
on
Street
LA Law.
Blues.
Yes, all those. Fred Savage.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
was a child prodigy, and then later on...
he's a director these days.
Yeah.
He played Kevin Arnold in The Wonder Years. And then he also played, and a lot of people forget this, the grandson in The Princess Bride. And
yes, he did. I forgot about that.
And I'm blanking on Peter Falk was his grandfather.
Right.
And would tell him the story. Last one, horror writer Dean Koontz is 81 today.
Wow. I've never been too familiar with Dean Koontz's work.
But a bestseller nonetheless.
Now, here's a question I posed earlier. I didn't get a chance to get to it earlier. Why World Cup game balls always make their way back onto the pitch?
Yeah, why is that?
Because they do. I was trying to see if there's any one reason for it. Did you know that these balls have sensors in them that help to tell when the ball is offsides and all kinds of stuff? Yeah, I mean, they have all kinds of stuff in it. Maybe it's because people don't want to be followed home. I don't know. But they just do. You know, in baseball, we get a ball, we keep it. In soccer, everybody gives it back. It's just kind of the way they do it. And so they don't think about keeping it. They'll take a selfie with it real quick and throw it back in the field. I don't know. A mystery. Coming up next, Joel Sears, right here on the Gary Sutton Show at 7:05. But first, news at the top of the hour. It is 7 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
You make me want to be a better man.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. This hour brought to you by Bowery Orchard. Yes. And I'll tell you what, I just had a chance the other day to do a little podcast, which I'll have up in a couple days. Mike DiGirolamo, and I have to say this right, DiGirolamo and Chris DiGirolamo have created something very special in the heart of York City, right there in Central Market. And it's open today, by the way, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. In fact, they just opened right now, where I just bought the other day, Mark, mortadella. I stopped, and I had a great conversation with Mike and then Chris.
My favorite.
Oh, and this mortadella I put on a salad for dinner last night. Well, my wife put it on.
So did you cut it? Did you roll it?
He rolls it right there. He cuts it and then rolls it with the paper, a little plastic paper between. And I'll tell you what, it is heavenly.
Isn't it?
But they've got meat.
Is this with the pistachio in it?
It does not have pistachio, and I don't believe.
Some places do that as well.
No, this is not. But this is right out of New York.
Yeah, right.
And that's where they get a lot of their stuff, in New York. But quality mortadella. They got Italian cheeses. They've got all kinds of things there, like oils and vinegars. They've got holy cannoli, the cannoli cart there, where you can get a chocolate cannoli. They've got catering for you. I mean, they can put together the charcuterie board like you've never seen. Chris is like an artist with that. But they can cater your next party. They've got all kinds of wonderful sauces and dishes and pre-made dishes. They've got baked goods there. I'm telling you what, it is a wonderful place to go. Bowery Orchard, and you get a great conversation with Mike and Chris. They're just wonderful people. So why don't you stop by there today? 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. In fact, stop in right now, and they'll be glad to help you. High-quality gourmet products. If it's a specific thing you're looking for, let them know what you need, and they'll try to put it together for you. And party planning, they are the best. Bowery Orchards, check them out at BoweryOrchard.com, B-A-R-I Orchard.com. They are the sponsors of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show right here. You can find them also on Facebook and Instagram. Bowery Orchard, B-A-R-I, right there in historical Central Market. Visit them today. And any day the market's open, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. That's when they're open. Bowery Orchard. Chris and Mike DiGirolamo. And I have to say it correctly, DiGirolamo. Has something to do, Mike told me the other day, with the family. And then Girolamo is the last name. So he said his friends used to call him Geronimo. But he said, no, it's Girolamo. You have to get that right. Mike, right out of Brooklyn, by the way. So there you go. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show this hour on WOYK. Also, Anstein and Sparler, attorneys at law, and kindnessworldwide.org. And our text line is open at 833-478-4729, all brought to you by the Back Nine, which is celebrating its 6th month of its anniversary here in York, right out there at 259A Pauline Drive in the South York Plaza. And finally, our question of the day today, what do you yearn for here in this country today? What do you yearn for? You can do that at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook or also on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So all of that, Mark, before we even get to Joel Sears, our policy guy this morning, who always has something to kind of break down for us. And we love this segment every Thursday morning. Good morning, Joel. How are you?
Doing well, Gary. How about you?
Doing well. And Joel, also the sometimes sit-in host here for me when I am away. So he has become part of that whole corral of people and his own particular style doing that, and does a great job. And so great to have you aboard. So what do you have for us this morning, my friend?
Well, Gary, I forgot to wish you a Happy New Year last week.
Oh, you did? Well, aren't you a little late on that? I mean, I'm just...
not really. The schools unfortunately, the schools here in Pennsylvania start their fiscal years on July 1st. So that was their Happy New Year Day.
And of course, we have a budget. We have a budget. We're all set to go. We can make all the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. We don't have a budget. Go ahead.
We don't, but they do. And the 16 school districts all had to submit their budgets on time, and half of them decided that they needed more tax revenue, so they raised their rates. And on New Year's Day, they always send us a present, which is this packet of pink slips and white slips that have the amounts that we get to contribute during the year to support our local school districts. Yours went up 2%, mine went up 4.4%. I think the highest was about 4.8%. And there were 8 that had no increases. Now, just to put this into context, I'd like to run down what it is we're actually paying for. We currently educate about 65,000 kids in the county.
Okay.
In the 16 districts. They spend a collective $1.6 billion to do that. That averages $24,759 per student. It seems rather surreal when I look at that number, especially when I think back to the years that since you and I met. Average spending was probably in the $13,000 to $14,000 range. The total amount of property taxes that supported that statewide was about $6 billion.
Yep.
Today it's $20 billion coming from local sources, which is, in a way, it's this Sisyphean sort of problem. We pushed this eliminate property tax rock up the hill, and when we started pushing it up the hill, it's like a reverse snowball. It was $6 billion worth of weight to replace. The next time we rolled it up, it was about $6.3 billion.
Right.
Now when we roll it up, it's $20 billion. So you can understand that it's a much more difficult problem to solve. That's an increase that's higher than inflation. You can see what's happening with per capita school expenditures. I looked at each district. It's really amazing, Gary. The lowest per student expenditures in the Northern District, which I think is near and dear to your heart. Wasn't your dad the principal there?
He was. Up at Northeastern, yes.
Oh, Northeastern, that's right. Wow. Now, Northern, which is up in the Dillsburg area, $18,000 per student.
Wow. $18,000 per student.
Per student.
You got to linger on that for a moment and think about it, but go ahead.
York City, here's one to linger on, $36,000.
36?
36. 18 in Northern, 36 in the city.
Ooh, okay.
Your district is spending $22,600.
Right.
My district is spending $27,900. So these numbers are all over the place. You have to ask yourself, well, what's the educational model?
Well, and what's the
salaries don't vary that much.
What's the rate of return? I mean, what's the investment and the rate of return on the investment? Because we know that our representatives would be like, want to invest for us. So what's the return that we're getting on the dollar? Not that you think about that in terms of people, but you kind of do, because you say, well, you're going to take my money. Then let me see what you're going to use it for, because it's kind of my money, and it'd be nice to know that you're doing it for something good.
Well, when we talk about economic returns, we divide the money into a couple of pots. One is the inputs, the investments, or the expenditures. The other is the output, the value. What do we get for it? So let me ask you, what would you use to measure the effectiveness of these two school districts that are on polar opposite ends of this spending spectrum? 18,000 in Northern, 36,000 in the city.
I would want to see tests. That's the only thing we have. I want to see tests. I want to see, graduation rates. I'd want to see things like that, I think. Does that make any sense?
It absolutely does. You and I are on the outside right now, but when you were on the inside, you had some other information available that is typically never published.
Right.
So let's say you could take some of that and publish it, because there are a lot of folks who argue that standard test scores and graduation rates and that sort of thing they're interesting, but they're really not the whole story.
No, they're not. But
it's hard to argue that. That's true.
Right.
So what else could we possibly publish to help gauge the return on this investment?
Well, I would look at, for example, our students attending regularly. Are they? That'd be part of it. If I have what's the I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of a whole lot of other ones right now. Go ahead.
Well, there are some, I guess. The problem is standardization, or let's say comparative numbers.
Yeah.
Look at GPAs, for example, from Sutton, and compare them with GPAs from another school district. It's kind of apples and oranges.
Yeah.
They might have different weighting factors for their advanced classes, even to the extent that kids could graduate with a 4.8 GPA.
Right.
Scratch your, well, that's not very useful.
Well, that's why I was thinking about that, because it is apples and oranges. Because are you graded on a curve? Are you graded on a straight system? How are you doing it? And every classroom is going to be different, let alone every school. Every classroom sometimes is going to be different, unless a school has a very definitive system for all of their classes, so you all have to follow that. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I've been out of it for a while.
Well, and we don't have a standardized curriculum.
Right.
Now, I remember as a kid growing up in Denver, the entire city had the same curriculum. You could transfer from one elementary school to another, and you didn't miss a beat.
Well, and now at least you have something to compare it to.
With you.
Yeah. You have something to compare it to there. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that we have anything to compare it to with all the various schools we have in our area. Yeah.
Well, the only thing we have is a standard set of standards that are published by the state.
Yeah.
So you look at this and think, well, now we have all this variation in expenditure. We have all this variation in funding.
Yeah.
Well, in the case of the city, for example, even though they have the highest nominal tax rate, they haven't had an increase in several years. Well, how is that possible?
Yeah.
They're getting a higher than proportional amount of state funding as a result of the lawsuit that was filed many, many years ago and I think settled in 2023. And rather than fix the funding mechanism, our friends in Harrisburg have decided that the solution is to just give more money to the failing districts.
And somehow all will be right with the world. And we're not going to necessarily change a whole lot of things there. But if we throw more money at it, that'll make it better. And that has for a long time not been the way to go. I mean, and we've proven that over and over again. But for some reason we say, well, we didn't try that in our district yet. Let's try it in our district. Maybe it'll be different. No, it doesn't work like that.
Well, it's not a once and done deal, Gary. This has been going on for decades.
Right.
Exactly. The solution is to give the failing districts more money with no accountability. In other words, no real teeth in things like academic improvement, graduation rate improvement, attendance improvement. I mean, just to contrast these, York City's performance in reading and math is so bad that it would almost bring tears to your eyes. If you were in the classroom and you had to deal with the kind of academic performance, the challenges that are brought in a typical city classroom, the kids aren't bad kids. They're not stupid. And, you know, as somebody who sat on a school board for a while, and you as a 25-year veteran teacher, I don't know how we would react if we went into these systems and just had a chance to observe for a week or two.
Yeah.
What in the world is going on? How can we be committing just under $40,000 per student and getting the results we get? And watching year in and year out the same people in the administration, the same people on the school boards making the same bad decisions and producing the same bad results.
Yeah, if you were a college football or college basketball coach, you'd be fired. Or maybe even a high school basketball coach or a high school football coach. You might get fired now if you had those kind of results year after year after year. Joel, we're right at the end of our segment this morning, but I do want to follow up on this kind of thing next week. And cause I think it's a story that needs to have more and more examination, okay? So we're going to do a little bit more with that next week. But I appreciate the work you're doing on this morning. Thank you so much, my friend. Always good talking to you, and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Gary. You too.
Thank you. Joel Sears, our policy guy right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We take a break. We'll come back with more right after this.
Fox Sports Update.
The drama builds for Dylan Cease in the Blue Jays. It's 10-0. Giants do not have a hit. And a base hit. No opponent has ever thrown a no-hitter here at Oracle Park.
On NBC Sports Bay Area, the Blue Jays blanked the Giants 10-0. Dylan Cease's attempt at a second career no-hitter ceased with the first batter of the ninth inning. Dylan Cease had 11 strikeouts to raise his American League leading total to 148. 2 years ago, Cease threw a no-hitter for the Padres. Pirates pitchers were working on a combined perfect game Wednesday versus the Braves when Atlanta broke through in the seventh inning. The Braves shut out the Pirates 3-0. The Major League Best Dodgers beat the Rockies 4-3 on an RBI single by Mookie Betts in the eighth inning. Los Angeles 2 games better than Milwaukee for the top record in baseball. The Brewers' 4-game win streak snapped by the Cardinals 5-1. The Rays increased their lead in the AL East to 5 games over the second-place Yankees. Tampa Bay shut out New York 3-0. Mike Trout returned from the injured list and hit a home run for the Angels, who ripped the Rangers 13-1. The Twins walked off against the Guardians 3-2 on a single by Alan Rodin. Behind 2 blasts from Sal Stewart, the Reds hit 5 home runs in an 11-5 win over the Phillies. With 2 blasts from Pete Crow Armstrong, the Cubs hit 5 home runs in a 9-7 win over the Orioles. Other MLB winners, the Padres, Red Sox, Mets, Marlins, Nationals, and Tigers. Detroit veteran pitcher Justin Verlander announced Wednesday this season his 21st in the majors will be his last. Verlander, who is set to make his 10th All-Star Game appearance next week, is a 3-time Cy Young winner. World Cup quarterfinal today, France versus Morocco, 4 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Pre-game coverage starts 1 hour earlier. You can download the Fox Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
By the way, Chris Markowski came on this morning and told us that story about Prince. We were talking about Prince today, and that he was a heck of a basketball player. You know, Prince was only 5'2". He was not very big, somewhat diminutive, but he was a standout in junior high and junior varsity at Minneapolis Central High School. And both NBA legend Kevin Garnett and his musical peers confirmed he possessed serious skills, trash-talking prowess, and a legendary competitive drive on the court. By the way, Chris Markowski sent me the Dave Chappelle Show thing from Charlie Murphy from 1985.
Not safe words.
No, not at all. And by the way, I was watching some of it. You would not be able to put that on the air.
No.
But according to his junior high coach, this is Prince now, Richard Robinson, Prince was an excellent ball handler and a good shooter who could have likely started if the team wasn't historically stacked at the time. You know what I read out of that, Mark? He was too small.
Is that right?
That's what I read out of that statement right there. That's coach speak. He was too small.
But then he played these actors, right?
Well, he had a basketball court built inside Paisley Park where he lived there in Minneapolis, and he would frequently invite friends and musicians to play pickup games. And apparently, and I was looking at one of the videos here, he's really good. I mean, the guy, you don't imagine Prince playing anything but the guitar.
Right.
But I'm telling you what, the guy could handle the rock. I mean, he was pretty good. So there you go. Prince, one heck of a basketball player. We have now established that here today on the Gary Sutton Show once and for all. By the way, have you ever heard of Type 2 fun, Mark?
Say it again.
Type 2 fun.
No.
This sounds like this could get us in some trouble, too, doesn't it? Yeah. Have you ever had, well, I don't even know what Type 1 fun is, but
I can imagine.
Have you ever had Type 2 fun before is the rhetorical question. It's where you have fond memories of something that was actually miserable while it was happening. Kind of like this show every day. I mean, that's Type 2 fun. We look back and we say, yeah, I've got fond memories. Oh, my gosh, that was horrible at the moment. But think a marathon or a moving day, something like that. If you're running a marathon, you're thinking, oh, this is horrible. How am I going to ever make this? I'm going to die. Moving day, all this stuff. Something falls on your foot. You have to go get an operation. Probably lost all kinds of money. But later on, it's Type 2 fun. A Type 2 fun. It's something that my social media people at Sparkfly would look at and say, yeah, we understand that term. See, like for me, this is brand new. Or even something embarrassing that was horrible in the moment, but now it's turned into a great story. Like when I stayed at my friend's house, and I went up and I went to the bathroom, not that kind, the number one kind, and pushed the commode thing, and the house flooded. Like that time. That was type 2 fun where I could look back on that now as there was water, 6 inches of water in the guy's basement at the house I was staying at, and I can laugh about it now.
You're rebranding it.
Oh, my gosh. But at the time, it was unbelievably embarrassing and miserable, like that kind of thing. Well, unlike regular fun, type 2 fun isn't exactly enjoyable in the moment. It's the stuff that leaves you sweaty, sore, frustrated, embarrassed, questioning your life choices. And then after a while, you laugh when you think about it and say, ha, it was so... I don't laugh about it too much now. So the next time you're halfway through something difficult and wondering why you agreed to do it, just remember, you might be making your favorite story.
Yeah.
You might be making your favorite story, you see. And so I found on the other end, as I want to do, the top examples of type 2 fun you could have in your own home. Like train the dog to attack door-to-door solicitors. That would be a type 2 fun. I think you could actually train, solicitor comes to the house, color code your antidepressants, do something like that. That would be a type 2 kind of fun that you could have. Get rid of unwanted clutter, like your kid who still lives in the basement. That would be type 2. You don't think? Terrible. Am I missing the point?
Yes.
Clean that filter thingy on the end of your hair dryer. Do you ever see that thing as it gets all like...
Yeah, it's funny you should say that.
End wasteful recurring charges on your credit card, like your gym membership and... No, that's it. Just your gym membership. Learn a new language so you can tell foreign neighbors where they can go back to, and do it in the right language and make them feel at home, and get a side hustle, especially if you're hot. And it's called OnlyFans. Okay. And finally, mow the grass. Keyword mow. Smoking the grass qualifies as type 1 fun. So I'm just saying, there are some examples of things that you can do at home. A little arts and craftiness here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show at WOYK. Well, when we come back, you're going to meet a brand new person, although they're not brand new to me, because I work with them all the time. We're talking about Madison Hitz from Sparkfly. And what I did is I got this social media group to go out and start to look at my show through 30-year-old eyes. Now, I can't do that because my eyes are about, and they're older than that. All right? So I wanted to get a different look on my show. And for all of you out there who have businesses who are trying to brand your business to get more people to come to them, like we are every day, we beg, we grovel. But other things, Madison's got some ideas on that this morning, and we'll talk about them when she joins us right here on the Gary Sutton Show at 7:35. But first, news at the bottom of the hour. It is 7:30. And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Little Paul McCartney to lead you back this morning as we, thank heavens, got out of 1996 music. We're back in 1984, at least close to something musical. There you go, Paul McCartney. I don't know if Madison Hits knows who Paul McCartney is. We'll ask you that in a second. But Barry Orchard, the proud sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show. Madison and I were supposed to have lunch yesterday at Augie's Joint. Now, Madison, who I will refer to now as Rookie, did not realize there is more than one entrance into the Central Market, which she now does because I am just skewering her in the air. But if she would have walked into Central Market and walked down along the aisle, she would have seen Barry Orchard on her right, and she would have said, "Oh, Gary, I know that place is not open today, but what do they have?" And I would say they would have Mike D. Girolamo and his wife, Chris, and they've got oils and vinegars, which I know you would have loved, and bakery goods, and meats and cheeses from Brooklyn, and they've got like the charcuterie boards. They can cater your next party. They've got a cannoli bar. Lucas would have liked that, who's in here filming this morning. A cannoli bar, Lucas, chocolate and vanilla. They got it all. And I'll tell you what, you could stop down there today during any market day, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 7 a.m. They're open right now. You could stop there on your way back up to Shipley. 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're open, and they're ready for you. And with that, this morning, we welcome in here Madison Hits from Sparkfly. Good morning, Madison. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well now that you have been skewered publicly in your first effort here on our show. But no, it's great to have you aboard. Madison does a great job. She and Colin over there, and Lucas here, who's doing the filming of this morning, do a great job over at Sparkfly at Shipley. But earlier this year, I decided, actually late last year, I decided that I needed to become more hip. That Mark and I needed to get more and more stuff out there on social media. We were doing some of it, not a whole lot. So I sat down with Madison and Colin, and we started to talk about how you do that. And I felt like Rip Van Winkle waking up after a 20-year nap because you started saying, well, you know what? Instead of putting your daily question out there every day written down, why don't you put it out there in pictures and in your voice? And I said, what? And I can do that? So all of a sudden, now they've created a monster where I do this stuff. Why don't you do little podcasts when you go to places like I do now? I walk into places. All the stuff that I used to make fun of, now I do. But we welcome you this morning, Madison Hits. Good morning, Madison.
Thank you. Good morning. Good to be here.
So we got together. You know, what were your thoughts the first time you saw, no, this guy's a loser. There's no possible way he could do this, right?
Oh, my goodness. No, not at all. Honestly, I was so excited to be able to work with you just because there was so much opportunity and so many fun things that we would get to work on together, especially the video opportunity.
Yeah. You know, and we're a company. I mean, Mark and I are part of a company here. You know, we like to be associated with the Revolution, all that, but we're trying to get more and more listeners all the time to enjoy our show and take part. And so that was the point that with our multimedia approach that you now must take, I think, in the present day, to be really candid about it. This was a piece that I felt was missing, and we're not there yet totally, but we're working on the social media. I think it can be overdone, and yet at the same time, your job and what you guys do with me is help to create some of that balance and some of those opportunities to get the word out there in other ways. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that was the most exciting with sitting down with you, or really anybody, is being able to explore the possibilities and opportunities of what they have available. So, you know, for looking at your social media, for example, you know, we saw that there was an opportunity for video. We saw there was an opportunity, you know, for you to be able to showcase your awesome personality and have people see that outside of just text form. And once we started doing that, you know, the examples and seeing the results were amazing. It was like overnight, the difference in just being able to see little things, whether it was your question of the day, being able to interact with that from a video form, or, you know, some of your most recent stuff of seeing, hey, Gary went out to dinner or out to lunch. And I was like, actually, I'd love to do that. That's awesome. And you relate to things, I think, a little bit better when you have an opportunity to like mentally relate via video versus just reading it.
I think one of the things that I have learned is the stuff that people think is interesting. I went into a restaurant one night, and I just shot a little quick 1-minute thing. I think it was South County Brewery.
Yeah.
I shot this one little thing where I said, look at this at Christmas time. They were decorated, and I thought, okay, and I was doing this off what Madison and Colin had taught me to do. So I'll just make a little video, and I'll put a little voice to it, and I just scoured the room, and I put it up.
Yep.
8,000 views that day. 8,000 views. I'm going like the guy that owns it writes me and says, thank you so much. But I hadn't thought about that. That people are really interested in little things or getting to know things. You know, I used to laugh in the old days when you'd say, I'm getting up, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm eating my breakfast, I'm going off to God knows where. And I thought, that's so boring. But now you look at it and you say, oh, I ate this dish tonight that's really unusual. And people jump in on that kind of stuff. So people are looking at the everyday things we do, which has given me a new insight there, Madison, I didn't have before.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a way that you can be relatable with your brand in every day, where you don't necessarily have to be talking about, your show or your brand or any of those things to just necessarily be in front of people, be in front of the community. Like if you see a video of somebody going out to lunch, your immediate reaction is, oh, I'd like to try that. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, someone will say, like the other night, I did one of some fireworks that we're going to be putting up here in a couple of days. And I put up a little thing that night. I was across the street here at the Kodo building, and I was up on top of the roof. A friend has a place over there, and we were up there taking pictures. This is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at 7 different fireworks displays around the whole York, Harrisburg area, and then the one down here at Wellspan Park. It's funny when you put something that people will react. So it is part of, I guess, the conversation that you're having with people.
Yes.
And I think that's a really important aspect to really talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with that, where conversation, especially when it comes to social media, is so key because it enables your viewers or your customers to really get an idea of who you are as a person or who you are as a brand. And I think that is so important because it gives you the opportunity to interact with your customers. And it also, gives you an opportunity to show kind of behind the scenes element. One of the things that we love to do at Sparkfly is show like behind the scenes, elements, especially when they're fun. Like, for example, we were filming a couple weeks ago and we had the drone out and we had a raven that started attacking the drone. The raven was not a fan of the drone being there.
Right.
But it was kind of almost what you were talking about a little bit earlier of, some funny moments that end up being great stories. It was something that was completely unrelated, but it ended up being a fantastic story and a fantastic story for that client as well, that while we were filming their video, a raven attacked the drone.
You know what else is interesting is that people love to see you, I think, sometimes in moments that they don't see you in normally.
Absolutely.
Like they hear us every morning on this, and they'll see the little video I put up in the morning and things like that. And sometimes videos that we'll do, but they see you in a video where you're doing something they normally would not have seen you do.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're playing golf, or if you're taking a walk, or if you're in an embarrassing situation like flushing the commode of the friend's house and getting 6 inches of water in the basement. But seriously, in things where you normally are not pictured in that setting. Is that a fair look?
Yeah, I think also because it kind of goes back to being relatable. Like if you are having dinner at a place that somebody else likes, or if you're golfing and somebody else relates to golfing, it just enables your viewers to relate to you on a separate level. And then also be able to feel a connection as well, outside of, like you said, that regular every day to day that maybe you wouldn't necessarily know about that person.
One of the great things that I've learned in this last year of social media has been this. It helps me to relate to other generations, and it helps me to relate to other ways of thinking. And that takes you out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. As we get older, we could tend to be the guy that lives in the house that takes the kids' baseball and rolls onto our lawn. We tend to roll into a very narrow kind of thing sometimes. Not everybody. But I'm saying we can tend to move in that direction and insulate ourselves from other things. What this does, it helps me to kind of be on guard every day for different things. And I kid at the beginning, I said, we're taking 30-year-old eyes and putting them onto my whatever eyes, kind of look at the world. And I think it really helps me to understand things from more perspectives. And I know I feel a little bit more refreshed. I know Mark feels refreshed every day when I do that. But no, it's just the idea is it opens up your horizons a bit.
It does. And I think it helps you start to think of other ways that you can present yourself and other ideas of things you can do. You're thinking outside the box. You're not just having to think, okay, what am I posting in content form? It's, hey, what if I create a quick 10-second video of me feeding the ducks, or of me going shopping, or of me going out to dinner, or any of those things. And it just really helps you relate to your customers, and also helps you think of different ways that, you can just kind of have fun with what you do every single day.
You're referring to last week when I played golf and I was feeding Rick.
I absolutely am. I really enjoyed Rick.
Rick is a goose. He's a white goose out at our club at Regents Glen. He lives on the 4th hole, and he comes when you call his name. Hey, Rick. And he'll come on over, and then you always have crackers or bread or something like that for him, which apparently is bad for ducks, but I feed him anyway. But he'll come over and eat it right out of your hand, and I called it Breakfast with Rick, and we just had a little fun with that. But it's amazing how many people want to see that and they go, I'll tell you what, you put a pet into a video,
you're good.
I told Mark we ought to be sitting here doing a video every day of our show holding a kitten. People would just I remember that. What was that show used to be on Cable 4 all the time about your pets? And it was the highest rated show on Cable 4 because people wanted to see dogs and cats all the time. So you do something like that. So let me ask you this question, Madison. For people who are listening this morning who have businesses, and we know small business is the backbone of America, and especially here in New York, we're a big place for small business. Is there a list of things you can do outside of joining Sparkfly? Is there a list of things you can do or that you should do for each business that kind of works for social media, a 10 commandments or whatever number of commandments it would be that would kind of work for them in terms of getting started if they wanted to expand that particular part of their business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing to think about is that when it comes to social media, you don't have to make it as complicated as it seems.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times with social media, it seems complicated. It seems like, well, what do I do? How much do I post? What do I post? And ultimately, the best advice that I can give is to just look at it from a fun lens, where if you think about from a weekly perspective, what is the message that you want to get across? The biggest thing is, instead of telling your customers or your viewers what you do, it's show them.
Right.
Show them an example, show them a testimonial, show them, you and your team having fun, because that's going to create trust. That's going to be relatable far more than just saying you should trust me because. And I think, another thing is education. It's so important to educate your viewers, whether it is on something that they may not know, or maybe it's something that you think they know, that you can just give them advice on or give them tips and tricks on how they can be better at it. And that can be for any brand. And then I think that, the last thing is just fun, kind of like we've been talking about on the show, is figuring out how you can express what you do in a fun, engaging way, whether it's having your team members, get together and start singing an old Paul McCartney song, which I am very familiar with.
Yes.
My dad was a big Beatles fan. And
Thanks for mentioning it was your dad was a big Beatles fan.
He was, but I will tell you.
Yeah, we don't feel any older now. Go ahead, no.
But I could probably sing every word to the Obla Di Obla Da song.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Every word. I even have the claps down.
You want to give it a go?
No, not live. That's later.
Okay, very good.
But no, and I think that just have fun with it and just know that the biggest thing is to be present, to post often, and to just make sure that at the end of the day, you're giving and you're showing a part of yourself that you would want your customers to see.
Wow. That's a great way of saying it this morning. And so anyway, if you want a brand, there are some ideas for you today. We're working on all the time. Madison and Colin are going to kind of be regular parts of our show from time to time as we update you on different things that are going on, trends that are happening, different kind of branding that's happening. But what they've done for me is they've helped to give me a we perspective to the show, a different generational perspective, if you will, a different angle perspective. Mark does that every day, but it adds to it when you have people outside of your own generation, way outside your own generation, helping to do that. And it does give us a chance to have a little bit more fun with you every day and also provide different ways that you can reach us and communicate with us on social media. And we really appreciate it. Madison, great to have you in this morning.
Yes, thank you so much.
Now, I will expect that you are going to get down to Augie's.
Hey, I know there's 2 doors now.
Way to go. I'm already
leveled
You do all
up.
this complicated branding. Now you know that there's 2 doors in the central market.
I know that when you walk in, you have to not just assume that it's closed. You keep walking.
There are actually
I've learned a lot
4
of
doors to the central market. It's a big square building. I don't know. It's easy to do. It's easy to miss that.
I won't mess it up next time.
I know you won't. I know you won't. You are a quick study. But no, in all seriousness, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
It's been great. And and great having you and Lucas here in the studio with us to talk about branding, because a lot of businesses you're looking to get more customers. You're looking to, in our case, looking to get more listeners, but you're looking to get more people walking through your door. How do you do it? You had some ideas there this morning right here in the Gary Sutton Show. Don't forget you can check a podcast of our show at WOYK on YouTube later on today after the show. If you want to go back and say, what were all those points? Go back and take a listen to them again, and you can jot them down. Madison, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Gary.
Looking forward to seeing you and Colin in the future.
Absolutely.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with more right here on the Gary Sutton Show, where it is 7:49.
I love scotch. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch, scotch. Here it goes down into my belly. That is good.
You're on the air.
How are you? You look awfully nice tonight. Maybe don't wear a bra next time. How much time till we're on?
We're on, Ron.
What?
We're on the air right now.
I'm ready. Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy. Here's what's going on in your world tonight.
It was the 1970s.
Looking good, San Diego.
In a simpler time,
Hey, Garth, how's the divorce?
Oh, not so good. I'll probably never see my kids.
Fantastic.
It took a simpler man
Follow leads, confirm sources. Real journalism, my friend. Great. Right on. Now, what's a lead?
to deliver the news.
I have some very urgent and important breaking news. Cannonball!
Will Ferrell is Ron Burgundy.
Who's that handsome devil?
A Californian so popular,
You stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah!
he could have been governor.
Hey, I like that fatty.
Oh, Mr. Burgundy.
Anchorman, the legend of Ron Burgundy.
It was on this date 22 years ago, 2004. I went to see it. I had high expectations, and I did not like it.
Were they dashed and thrown on the rocks?
They were. I felt at the time that Will
Yes.
Ferrell thought he could just do anything, and people would laugh at it.
This was proof that maybe that wasn't true.
Right. And I thought, boy, I can't believe they made this. And the more I saw it, the less ambivalent I became about it.
Well,
So-
I fortunately do not have that problem because I never saw it. So I,
you should see it. It's
I
got-
probably will look at it now. I'm a little interested.
the cast is pretty good, and it is Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell being Will Ferrell, in yet another role.
But not the innocent elf version.
Right. This is a different kind of
this
Will
is the
Ferrell.
cocky. I can't use either one of those.
I've got it. Yeah, I think I understand what you're thinking about. By the way, the White House, you and I were just talking about this a moment ago, has launched 25 Freedom Fuel gas stations in an attempt to provide Americans a cheaper option at the pump. The first Freedom Fuel Network gas station has landed in Philadelphia, lowering the price of the pump to $3.47 for our 47th president. The White House wrote on the social platform X on Tuesday. President Trump is leading the charge to lower gas prices this summer, putting more money in your pocket. Now, 20 of the stations are located in Pennsylvania, while 5 are in New Jersey, according to the Freedom Fuel Network's website. A White House official told The Hill the Freedom Fuel Network is a private company and did not receive subsidies from the administration. The average price of a gallon of gas in those two states is roughly $3.98 and $3.86, respectively. That's Pennsylvania and New Jersey, as of this past Wednesday, according to AAA. Now, the national average price of gasoline is $3.79 per gallon as of Wednesday. So the Hill reached out to the White House Energy Department for further details on the new gas stations. What's your take on this? I mean, now, you know my thought about government. Government, when they put in things like this, is a contrivance. When it's the natural animal instincts going to work and prices determine themselves, that's a whole other thing. But this is the government kind of inserting themselves here. If you could do it in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey, why wouldn't you do it all across the country, Mark? I guess that's my main thought.
And he's been complaining about communism and socialism, so I don't know if the government's involved here, but I guess it would somewhat have to be.
They're backing
in some
it.
way.
Yeah.
Well, because it's not easy to get. How can you sell gas? I guess you could sell it at a loss, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know where.
Right, where are they getting?
Well, the question that the normal human being would ask, and take away all the sides to this.
Yes.
The question a normal human being would ask is, all right, you're doing that in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Duh. I live in Delaware or California or Iowa or Maine or New Hampshire. Why not here? I mean, that would be my thought. I'd love to hear a good answer to that question. That'd be a common sense answer. Well, we're just getting started. Might be a good answer. Maybe we have a limited supply of stuff. When you say, well, why Pennsylvania and New Jersey? Why wouldn't you go, let's say, to Maryland? Or why wouldn't you go to New Mexico or Florida or Texas?
Right.
So one wonders why just those two states and 25. I mean, the concentration is 20 in Pennsylvania and 5 in New Jersey. That's kind of an interesting thing to me. And I don't know the answer to that. I'm just posing the question. So There you go.
Speaking of gas and traveling and commuting and those kinds of things.
Sure.
Some good news.
The number of U.S. traffic-related deaths fell to its lowest rate in the first quarter of this year. That's from figures being published now by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Their report titled Crash Stats show that statistically 7,700 people were killed in traffic crashes in the first few months of this year, 2023. 2026, and that is a decrease of more than 4% when compared to quarter one of last year, and the 16th consecutive quarterly decline in traffic crash-related deaths. Alaska saw the greatest statewide decrease with their rate cut by 2/3. Eben Brown, Fox News.
And ladies and gentlemen, do want to remind you this hour has been brought to you by Barry Orchard, which is open right now at the Central Market right here at 34 Philadelphia Street, downtown York. You can go in any side of the Central Market there and stop by Barry Orchard right along the wall there. After you come to the Beaver Street side, it's right along the left wall past Hefty Lefties and Augie's Joint. And be part of the family. Stop in and see Mike and Chris DiGirolamo. They have created something special, this husband-wife team, that is truly a great place. Oils and vinegars, the cannoli bar, the catering that they have going on, making the charcuterie boards, all the prepackaged goods they have there, oils and vinegars, some of the best bakery items you're ever going to see, and meats and cheeses galore. Including the all kinds of wonderful cheeses there. Ladies and gentlemen, stop by and see them today. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. They are the sponsors of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we come back, Corey Thurman checks in on the World Cup and more. All here on WOYK, where it is 8 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth. You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
You had me at hello.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here, starting the final hour on a Thursday morning, all brought to you by Augie's Joint. Also right there at the Central Market, Augie's Joint, where I was yesterday enjoying an Augie's Doggy. I stopped down there, and I was supposed to be Madison. Some lady told her that Augie's wasn't open, except for Tuesday and Thursday. Well, that's not true. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., for the best and great lunchtime fare. From the Gary Sutton Show burger to the Augie's Doggy to the Angry Cheesesteak, to all kinds of hot dogs that are just exotic, from the cheese dog to the Frito dog to the hot Cheeto dog to the loaded dog, the Reuben dog, the pretzel dog, the Lori's V dog, the Buffalo Soldier dog, the taco dog, the cheesesteak dog. You get an idea. Lots of different kinds of dogs there, Mark. And the classic chicken cheesesteak, the Swiss room cheesesteak. They've got the Augie's Deluxe. I mean, you name it, they've got it for you. And Augie is always coming up with brand new burgers and dogs. And I know Corey Thurman is thinking about doing one of those. But they're open 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. And with that, we bring in this morning the aforesaid Mr. Thurman, Corey Thurman, former pitcher here for the Rebs, former Major League pitcher, and with us here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Thursday morning. And Corey, you were thinking about trying to get a burger named after you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Might as well try to do it. I've had some really good ideas. You know, I've been going through my culinary journey when it comes to cooking and stuff. So I've been watching a lot of these cooking shows, and there's certain things that I like on a burger that I think that I know that they can do it. It's just the fact that it's good. I got to come up with the right concoction to make it flavorful.
Now it's a summertime, so if I'm sitting down to have a good burger with Corey Thurman, what are the musts that must go on a good summertime Corey Thurman burger?
Must, definitely mayo, mustard, cheese, tomato, onion. Lettuce, I can go here, neither here nor there, bacon. Those are must. Those are the must. And then now, I do like a fried egg on mine too. But sometimes, you know, you don't have time to do that. I do love a fried egg, so that would definitely be on this burger, because if we're going to do it, we're going to go big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure the fried egg really hit me too well, but with all the other stuff you have, all the other stuff, I was there with you. I was going, yeah, Corey, and then you went fried egg, and I went, you know, I kind of had it, but everybody has different tastes, right? I mean, there you go.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's where you know, if someone wanted to try it, they're like, man, they've never tried a fried burger before. Next thing you know, bam, with an egg on it, they're like, man, I got to try that, and they just try it. You know what I mean? And then you never know. It might open your eyes to something.
Well, Hardee's had and I don't know if they still do. There's only like one left here in York, I think, or one here in York, one in Spring Grove that I know of. But they had like a breakfast burger with egg, and I did eat that one time. And it wasn't, it was good, but I was in a breakfast mood. So I wasn't in a lunchtime mood where I'd say, well, lunchtime, the egg goes. I mean, I'll go with the burger on you, but the egg goes. But there you go. So, what were your thoughts this week about the United States? They 4-1 they lost the other night. I wanted to ask you this question, and this is really deep this morning, because I know you love to go to these kind of things. So, Mark and I were sitting here talking yesterday, and Mark came up with a brilliant point. We were talking about why Americans generally don't consider soccer to be like our number one sport, like the rest of the world does. And we kind of got talking about the idea of it's a continuous kind of thing. But when you have, like, for example, if you pitch a ball in, there's an event that's going to happen. You're going to strike somebody out. You're going to have a hit. You're going to have a home run. You're going to have a foul ball. But there are specific events that we look at. If a running back gets the ball, he's going to get stopped. He's going to run forward. He's going to go for a touchdown. He's going to fumble it. there are specific events that we look at as we view sports, but you don't get that with soccer. It's just continuously all these little things, and I think it goes against the very way we view sports. What do you think about all that?
You know what? It's when you look at the soccer aspect of it, when you said that, it's like it made me start thinking about that's like with a soccer game, and if I'm watching, it's like I can go to commercial and then come back. You know, I mean, no, seriously. I can
you're right.
Use the restroom, come back, and they're still just going to be kicking it around, setting up the formation, and then you'll see somebody do something, and then they'll score. But then you're like, okay, cool. But even like with hockey, because I relate those two, but hockey's in a smaller space, and they're on ice, and they're going really fast, but they're always trying to set stuff up. But at some point, they're going to get a lot of shots on goal. Like in soccer, you don't get a lot of shots on goal, and you got to make them count. And it's like how people who don't like baseball, they say it's boring, but we have outcomes. You know what I mean? Soccer's somewhat boring to people. I love sports, so I can watch it. But it's like, I'm not going to, like the rest of the world, they're going to watch it. They're there through every kick. They know every little small thing that's going on. People in Europe and down in South America, they watch all the little small things. Here, we have so many other sports, we don't have time to watch the small things. Well, but are we scoring or are we not? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying from Americans.
In your usual brilliant way, though, you have hit on something here that I think is really important. We go through the day as people doing things. Like you do a task, like you're teaching your students during the day, or you're doing a job during the day. We're not setting up for it all the time. We're doing it. It seems like they're always setting up for the big moment that never seems to come often enough. We have the big moment throughout the day because boom, 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 we're moving through life. And I think we watch our sports kind of the same way, which is why I think a lot of people say, I can't really watch ice hockey for the very reason you pointed out. They're always setting stuff up. Well, guess what? There's a point in time where I get ready to mow the lawn. I got to mow the lawn. There's a time when I get ready to go out and pitch a game. I got to pitch the game. I can't be setting stuff up all the time. I have to be doing the event. And I think you hit dead on it as to why we don't get real excited about that stuff. Or at least, let me say, as excited as we do about, let's say, baseball, football, that kind of thing.
And you remember how we talked earlier, like months ago, about like when I try to set up hitters. Because we talk about setting up, and people say, like, what do you mean? You try to set up hitters. Yes. But the thing is that, like, I got to get the out right now.
Right.
So I'm setting him up for his next at-bat by throwing this pitch right now to get the out.
Correct.
So the next at-bat, I can throw my good pitches when it's that time of the game where bases are juiced or man on third, less than 2 outs. Then now I can go to that pitch that I set up. But I had to do the action while doing the setup. Does that make sense?
There's an event in what you're describing. There's an event to get to another event, to get to another event, to get to another event. And it happens in the moment. So you look at the world in very separate compartments as opposed to this mural that you're getting, this sports mural that you're getting of soccer or hockey, where it just keeps on moving and they're always doing stuff, and all of a sudden, oh, look, what happened? Did it happen by chance? Did it happen because of a play? We like to know that there's and there is strategy involved now. I'm not dumb. But by the same token, the strategy is altogether different than the strategy of the moment that we see in our other sports, as you just described a moment ago.
Yeah, and like when we talk about that now, and like we talk about football, and then now let's think about basketball. You coach basketball.
Yeah.
Love watching basketball. You know what I mean? The outcome is scoring the bucket. Now the setup is how do we get there? What play are we running? What screen are we running? Are we pick and roll? Are we doing something? But we're trying to get that ball to go in the hoop. Right. Just like as a pitcher, I'm trying to throw a strike and the hitter's trying to get a hit every single time. You know what I mean? And this is going on constantly throughout the game. In football, the quarterback's trying to do something to get them to the end zone. That's the whole goal. And there's always action throughout that. Soccer, it'd be like in football, if we would throw a backward pass just to get back and then to throw it deeper again. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because in soccer, they look like they're going for a goal. Then next, they kick the ball back on our side. And I'm like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? But they're trying to set something up, and then somebody goes and sprints on the other side, then we miss the shot. Then what was the setup for? Why didn't you just go for the goal? You know what I mean? But there's got to be a science to it because the rest of the world loves it. There has to be some science. It's just we don't like in the United States. We don't have that kind of time for that.
They don't have that. They don't have football to compare to their football, though. So I'm saying
they don't have it.
That's it. I mean, they look at that like we look at the NFL. I mean, that's how they.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Let me ask you.
It's just the mindset.
Let me ask you this question: Do you think this tournament will have been good for United States soccer in terms of getting more and more people involved? Now, I mean, we got all kinds of promotion, advertisements, the TV stuff. I mean, it's been incredible. And by all accounts, Fox has been getting like 6 million some people watching the games. People are turning out in mass a lot of these games up and down the hemisphere. What's your thought on that? Has it been good for our country? Has it been good for North and South America?
Yeah, I think it's been great for our country and South America, Mexico, everything being down there. I think it's been awesome. Now, the thing is that is it going to have the effect that, what was it, in 99 when the women won here, and we were here, whatever year that was, when we won and Brandy Chastain took the shirt off, that was a different jump. That took women's sports and soccer in this country to another level with boys and girls. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. That was different because soccer went up like 40% there, and I remember I've heard a stat about that. It was like it went up. And now, do I think that we're going to have that kind of jump here? No. But what I say was awesome about it is how other countries got a chance to come over that would never have came here, got a chance to see our culture, got the chance to go to Golden Corral, got a chance to hit a buffet, got a chance to see how we do it, and it might help us on the back end when we get more tourism and things like that. I don't know if it's going to help in the soccer realm, but it's going to help just for exposure to the United States.
Well, you mentioned the women, and again, what do we have here? There's a common thing that they share with the rest of the world, which is they don't have football. Women don't have football. Women do not have football, so soccer is it when it comes to being out there, unless you want to take a lesser sport in terms of how it's viewed, which is field hockey, which is still a great sport. But the point is, soccer was it for women, and so they don't have baseball, they don't have football and all that kind of stuff to compare it to. So it'll be interesting. I think one of the biggest monkeys on the back, and we got rid of it somewhat there during the Winter Olympics, is this idea that we're always looking for the miracle on ice. We're always looking for the 1980 hockey team beating the Russians. We're always looking for that moment. And so anytime you have an American team now going out there in the sport of soccer or something like that, we're still looking for that moment again to be repeated because a lot of us remember how cool that was, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's straight up. Now, I will say, when they did the United Nations hockey thing and we played against Canada, because, in the Olympics, they can't fight like that or you'll get suspended. You don't want to get suspended in the Olympics.
Right.
But when they had the Four Nations or whatever it was called, the Four Nations hockey, and the Kachuk brothers came out right away on Canada and just said, let's go. Puck drop, we're throwing hands right now. And then we're going to go sit in the penalty box. And then Matthew did that. And then Brady, as soon as they dropped the puck again, you and the other guy, we're going to throw hands. They wanted to set the tone. That was exciting. Trust me, when I was watching that game, because, being in Canada all those years, it's like hockey was number one. So that was on SportsCenter, so I watched it and learned a lot about it and trained with those guys. And those guys are nuts, man. I tell people all the time, man, don't party with hockey players, though. It's like, hey, those boys can drink some beer.
So they went to see hockey before they went to see Corey pitch, you're telling me? I can't even believe that. I can't even hardly believe that.
Hey, man, that is so awesome. And so just seeing that got me fired up when they started throwing hands and then was fighting, and then they went in the penalty box and wanted to set the tone. That made it exciting for us. And that's why when the Olympics came right after that, we were like all in with hockey with them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Men's and women's. We were all in. And see, that's the thing that they set that up. Our U.S. men's national team is always going to be like 16th or 15th.
Or this.
Never number one. Never number one. Like, it's always going to be France, Spain, Portugal, Argentina.
They're really
and
good.
That's where soccer in our country, we're one of the top 16 teams in the world.
Right.
Yes. But we can never crack that top 5. And that's the only, it's like, here was our best chance. Yeah. And I didn't like the way they came out in that game against Belgium because Belgium already kicked your butt in a friendly, 5-2.
Right.
And then now we're on our soil, and bro, hey, they played with hardly any energy. I didn't like the energy from the start. I was like, they're going to lose today. They're going to lose. It wasn't. They should have came out like their pants were on fire. They should have came out hot. Let's go. Attack.
In other words, the way Belgium came out.
Thank you. Yeah. They came out hot, and they came out. They were like, and they were already upset that they took the red card away from Flo.
Right.
And they let him play, and like President Trump got into it, and they say the White House, but we know, man, because we wanted to win that game.
Right.
But our players didn't have that sense of urgency, and that's where it comes with the game of soccer. They were like, okay to be one of the top 16 teams in the world. It's okay. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Go win.
Yeah,
and then you can't get mad when, you know what I'm saying, we're winning in basketball and we're up there in baseball, and these guys are getting paid more than you when you're in MLS. That's why you got to go to Europe and play soccer a lot.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if we do something to step to that next level. It's kind of like remind me of James Franklin wanted to be elite at Penn State. They were always good, but guess what? There was always Ohio State. You're going to lose to Ohio State and Michigan every year for the most part, and that's kind of where the U.S. is right now. Good, top 16, ain't going to make it to number 1 this way just yet, and we'll see. Hey, good stuff this morning, Corey. Thanks so much, man. I got to hear about what you think the name of that Corey sandwich would be next time, because we're going to get that on the Augie and get that on the table, right?
All right, cool. Right now, I'll start writing stuff down. I'll start jotting stuff down for next week.
But no egg. No egg. I mean, I just can't do it.
You know what? It's like egg. We can say optional egg.
All right. Okay. I'm with you.
You got it.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes,
Take care.
All right, man. You got it. Yes,
Thanks,
man.
buddy. Corey Thurman here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOIK. Always has Mark shaking his head.
Well, he didn't mention ketchup.
Yeah, he did not mention ketchup on a burger.
He said mayo. He said tomatoes.
As anti as you are ketchup on a hot dog, you are pro ketchup on a burger.
Well, you know, if you're going to do
and
mayo,
I'm with you, by the way. I am with you.
Yeah, mayo, mustard, ketchup, yeah.
Right. But see, I don't need mustard if I have mayo and ketchup. Mustard is like an intruder then. Now, if I'm eating mustard, it's going to be mustard, no mayo, no ketchup needed.
Do you eat mustard on a hot dog?
I do.
Okay.
I can eat mustard on a hot dog. I can eat ketchup and mustard on a hot dog, too, by the way, with a little bit of relish, though.
I don't want to hear that.
I know you don't, but I'm passing that on to you just as another possible combination. Because I know how open-minded you are about that. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
2-1, and a swing and a fly ball right field. Toward the line goes Devontae Brown on his horse, and reaching out in foul ground, he's got it right against the fencing down there. He was virtually out of room, and he had to make a beeline to get there, reached down and made the one-hand grab. Terrific play and foul ground in right. The 2-2, and he swings and chops one deep short. Howell is over to his right. Long throw to first, gets away. It was late. Terry couldn't save it, and it trickles up the line. Done at third. Wolfie waving him. He's going to score, and the Revs lead 2-1. Ray goes to second on it. It'll be an infield hit plus a throwing error on Hal. 1-0. Swing a ground ball. Right side base hit in the hole. Tomo in to score. Jacob Teeter with an RBI single. And the Revs have scored in 3 consecutive innings. They lead it 4-1. They pitch too long. He swings and he rips one. It is a fair ball down the first base line. Past the diving Terry. Teeter scores. Here comes Ross in behind him. And he'll score standing. Shed Long Jr. at second with a 2-run double, and the Revs lead it 6-1 here in the 6th.
And the funny thing happened on the way to the win. We lost. Yeah, it was. They scored. They came back and tied it up, and then took the lead in the 8th, and the Revs lost coolly 7-6 last night in Lexington, Kentucky. To Lexington, who's 5-0 now in the second half, in a fair way. I mean, they're in first place. They're not. This is not chopped liver you're playing, but the Revs had them, and the Revs dropping their second in a row out in Lexington to now go to 3-2 tie, a 3-way tie in the second half in the North Division. But it's early. Yeah. It's early, and so maybe we get a win tonight. Braden Scott going tonight, who's probably the best pitcher on the Revs team right now, has been really solid here of late. The Revs now 32-4. When leading after 7 innings, which they were doing last night, but they, as I said, they lost. By the way, we're talking about hot dogs. We went to the break. Seattle has hot dogs fans rejoicing right now. A taste test from the New York Times just crowned the Seattle dog the best regional hot dog in America, Mark. Now, I offer this to you for your approval and review.
Did they list the others that were in contention?
They did.
Okay.
Here, if you've never had one before,
right.
A Seattle dog is loaded with, now get this, cream cheese. This sounds like Augie's. Cream cheese, grilled onions, mustard, and if you're feeling a little adventurous, jalapenos. Celebrity chef Jose Andres was there to judge the competition and called the cream cheese the diplomat, quote unquote, of the dog because it brings all those flavors together. Now, the Seattle dog knocked off some of the heavy hitters, as you mentioned here, including the classic Chicago dog, the famous New York dog, along with regional favorites from Detroit, Cincinnati, Arizona, Kansas City, and West Virginia.
Did it say what the New York dog, was it just the dog with ketchup?
It was the dog, and I'd have to look up what the New York dog has because they don't list the ingredients here. Looks like the next great American debate isn't about ketchup versus mustard. It's whether cream cheese belongs on a hot dog.
I mean, I get what...
That's out of my Northwest.
And who am I to argue with Chef Andre?
Well, I'm asking here, what is in... Because I'm not an aficionado on a New York dog.
But I would definitely eat that Seattle dog. I'd give that a try. With the jalapenos, by the way.
I'd give it a shot. I'd give it a shot. So what's in a New York dog, you ask?
Yes.
Here you go. To assemble the iconic New York dog, a style dog, here's what you need.
All right.
You need a tangy fermented sauerkraut, a ribbon of spicy brown mustard, and a signature tomato-based onion sauce.
No.
They say.
Okay.
The crown jewel of the New York street cart dog.
Interesting.
It consists of finely sliced yellow or,
Yeah.
There you have
The
it.
sauerkraut. It's basically a sauerkraut dog.
White onions slowly simmered with water, ketchup, or tomato paste, a splash of vinegar, a pinch of warming spices like cinnamon or chili powder. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Spicy brown deli mustard, never yellow mustard. A pungent, coarse ground deli mustard gives the dog its sharp kick.
Yes.
You
and
mentioned
it cuts through all that stuff.
The bun, a standard hot dog bun, traditionally steamed to stay soft and pillowy.
Yes.
And the Frank, a highly quality all beef hot dog, like a natural casing dog.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you go to Augie's. who's a sponsor of this hour, like I do, and get a Augie's Doggy with the Augie sauce on it, mustard, again, a brownish mustard, the onions or an onion chutney put on top of a dog. And, they have these wonderful rolls at Augie's, which they're a step above the hot dog roll, but they are steamed. And it's like a pillow for the dog. It doesn't break down on you. These regular hot dog rolls, they break down. This roll is there with you to the end. It's like your buddy.
It can stand up to it.
It's a couch for food. That's what I'm saying. So all of that right there.
There's an analogy.
At the Augie's Doggy. A couch for food where you could pile stuff in there, but it's not going to break down.
Yes. There lots of stuff in the cushions.
Thank you. A cushion for your hot dog. A cushion for your hot dog. See what you get on this show. It's located, by the way, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. We're up here at the Central Market. Stop by today and have a great Augie's Dog. Or even ask them about the Gary Sutton Show burger, too, or the Angry Cheesesteak. Or if you don't like a whole lot of peppers on your cheesesteak, the mildly annoyed cheesesteak. Might be something you could ask Augie for. Brent and Jewel and Elijah are ready to... And Lindsay now, also up there. Lindsay is another person that's up there, all ready to make your lunchtime an extravaganza. Get on up there today, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Go in the Beaver Street side. Don't get lost like Madison did yesterday by coming in the front side and be satisfied that she had explored all the entrances to the market. The Beaver Street side is where you find Augie's. And also Barry Orchard. See, all here on the Gary Sutton Show. I think I know this next guy. He is Aaron Anderson. He has not been here since like last year. He's been on vacation the whole time. We're going to ask him what he learned on his vacation. Because Aaron's always a guy soaking up stuff when he gets out there, what he can bring back to his hometown of York. Here on the Gary Sutton Show, next on WOYK, where it is 8:30. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show, and 8:34 here on a Thursday morning. Little Tina Turner coming back.
Yes.
She was an interesting singer.
And
went through a couple different metamorphoses.
This was kind of a comeback.
Yeah.
And revived her career for a while.
She did. And she was a very unique singer, I think. From Proud Mary to this to Mad Max to the whole thing. And
she had the Rod Stewart voice, usually but you don't like all gruff voices.
But I like hers. I don't know what hers was a hard voice. I mean, it was a tough voice. I interviewed her husband one time, by the way. You know, and
he was a Ike.
Yeah, and who beat her up?
Yes.
I think at some point in time. And,
yes.
Yeah, an interesting character there too. But I had a chance to interview on our show one time, and I just jury's out on that one. I never had a chance to interview Tina, but Ike was. Yeah, I think Ike Turner is not the guy you normally thought about. You thought about Tina Turner as she was the most visible one of that whole crew.
And speaking of music, tomorrow it's a Friday in the summertime, and I heard a song this morning, and I thought, you know what? We did. I think it was right before the 4th of July. We did summer songs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. I thought let's go back to 75.
Okay.
So we're gonna do that tomorrow.
Safe area, but
just for Friday, get in a party mood.
We've decided today to put a new guest on, and his name is Aaron Anderson. It seems like he's a new guest. He's CEO of Logos Academy and head of the church down there somewhere in Red Lion. And he's our guest this morning here. We haven't heard from him since like the 1800s, but great to have him back on. You can also find him at AaronJAnderson.com. Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
I'm good morning. It's nice to meet you, Gary.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. I knew an Aaron Anderson once, but no, it's good to have you. You've been on like an extended vacation here, for heaven's sake, or vacations combined with work somehow. I don't know how it all works, but how you doing? I mean, it's been like forever since we talked to you.
Yeah, I'm doing great. It has been an interesting mix of travel. Some of it's work, some of it's vacation, but you know how it is once you hit June, July.
I guess. We don't know how it is because we don't get to take those extended vacations all that much. We do a little bit. Now, you sit in here every now and then for us, so we appreciate that. But you couldn't do that. I kept asking him. I said, Aaron, can you sit in? No, I'm on vacation. Okay, fine. But anyway, so what did you – no, we're kidding. So what did you learn on your vacation? That was my topic this morning. What have you learned on your vacation, i.e. work, in the last month or 2 months?
Oh, man. Let's see. Well, I had a – so the first thing is I had a trip that was scheduled to be in March. My wife, for her work, she gets these wonderful trips. We were supposed to go to Puerto Vallarta, and then the head of the drug cartel was killed.
I saw that.
And so the airport we were supposed to fly into, I don't know if it was taken over as much as you remember seeing it in videos when like all hell was breaking loose in Mexico.
Right.
So that trip got pushed into June. So I guess the first thing I would learn is that you probably should be flexible because things that you plan sometimes will get knocked out by drug cartels.
And who hasn't had that problem? I mean,
that's a major problem.
Right. You want to go somewhere and a drug cartel takes over, and I mean, you say, oh, geez. It kind of reminds me of these Verbo commercials. You go in and like this horrible place, and the pool isn't cleaned and all that, and you go, I guess I ought to maybe go somewhere else. Go to Verbo where I don't have someone who messed up the whole place. But I read that stuff about Porto. That was scary stuff. I mean,
it was.
Yeah,
it was, and we were like 2 weeks out from. When that happened, 2 weeks later, we were supposed to be flying in, and obviously the company said, yeah, it's not happening. So we shifted, and they sent us to Dominican Republic, which was great.
Yeah.
We had a great time there.
So be flexible, which hasn't always had a great history either. I mean, I guess Haiti is really the one that has had more of a tough time than the Dominican Republic has recently. But, yeah. So are you picking, like, places where there's some danger involved? I mean, is that kind of where you're looking?
Not usually. That's not high on my list. I don't when I'm thinking about vacationing with my wife and family. Yeah. I don't tend to say where are the highest risk places. The State Department is warning us not to go. That's not.
Yeah, if the State Department warns you not to go, I'm thinking don't go there. You know,
I generally follow that advice.
I like what's next year? Iran? I mean, what are we looking at here? The Congo? I don't know. I just it sounds like the Anderson family has a little danger in the genes there. I'm not sure.
I don't know. You know, like when we go on missions trips, you know, sometimes we'll go to places where they might say,
right.
Yeah, there's a civil war happening in Ethiopia or something like that. You know, but but we thus far have had some great trips. So yeah, we did that. I was on a actually more work related trip out to Malibu, which is like that's another Malibu. What a great.
Now we're talking. Now we're getting into. There's nobody taking over Malibu that I know of.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Malibu was good. So flexibility you learned about on your summer vacation. So what did you learn in Malibu?
Oh, man, I was up there for a retreat, a church retreat with a group called Practicing the Way. It was at a Franciscan monastery, which was amazing. It was really great. So that was much more simple. I really appreciated there that Franciscans are, very generous people. So while they're feeding you, they're basically telling you, hey, don't take more than you want because what we don't have, we give to the homeless population.
Ooh.
So it was a very beautiful site, overlooking the Pacific coast there.
Yeah.
So it was neat to be in a place where Franciscans are.
So, but I like that. So the idea there would be what, thriftiness, discipline that you would learn in terms of how you would eat or that kind of thing.
You know what I took away? I'd say I think you can be in a place that's really beautiful, that's really simple. Actually, you have a really simple life, and you can have the both. You tend to think of luxury vacations as I've been on those where they're lavish and they're feeding you, and it's crazy. This was much more. You enjoy the things that are beautiful, but you're also very conscious of the environment around you, the people, and it didn't have all of that. But I would say it was probably just as fulfilling, maybe more fulfilling in some ways than a luxury vacation.
Very interesting. So far we've gotten to Dominican Republic and we've been to Malibu. Where else have you been?
Well, my family every year, with my wife's family, for almost 30 years now, we've done a week-long beach trip. Our family, though, as you know, has grown a lot. My family alone now is 12, and I have grandbaby number 2 on the way, and in October. So we said this year, somebody had the idea, so let's all go on a cruise together. So we cruised down to the Bahamas.
Okay.
And that was
nobody taking over the Bahamas these days, so you're pretty safe.
Right, and no one hijacked or no pirates on our ship.
Nope.
So that was positive. And I would say the lesson learned on that trip is the important. We get 28 people we took on a cruise. So all of us, and just being family, extended family, still fighting to try to be together. Was a really beautiful thing. Even when it's hard, like we're still trying to figure out how do we keep this family, this extended family, her siblings, her parents, how do we keep them all together? And that's because it'd be very easy to splinter off and just go do your own thing. But we really love being with all of them. And so we're still fighting to try to figure out how to do that.
Let me ask you a question. Now, you got me intrigued. So we went... with all the things so far, I went to the Dominican Republic, and after Puerto Vallarta got taken over, and then we went to Malibu. Now you're taking this cruise. How do you get 28 people? Because I'm always large groups. Number one, who sets the agenda? Because there's always an agenda setter somewhere in that group. Whenever you have a group of people, there's always someone who is the founder of the feast, so to speak. So were there multiple agenda setters? Was there one? How did you decide what moments that we kind of went off on our own and then we kind of came back together to the whole group of 28? How did you do that?
Well, you've heard me talk in other settings about the importance of collaboration.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So with family, it's probably even more important that you figure out how to develop a collaborative structure. So in this case, I think we all went into it with 28 people saying, here are the things in advance we know we're going to do. So we're going to try to, on a cruise, you can easily kind of sit together in the dining room if you tell them in advance.
Right.
We're going to do that. And then generally the families are going to be on their own. People will be, going to the pool, going to this. And we didn't try to coordinate too many things with 28 people because it's just really hard to coordinate that many people. So we just did some very basic things together. And it actually worked out where we spent plenty of time with each other.
So you do have like a unity moment where we say, okay, let's all have a family table of 28 or 2 tables of 14 or whatever it is at dinner time on the cruise at night. But then during the day, everybody else is kind of out there just kind of saying, okay, we're off and doing this and this and this and this, and then we'll see you later, right?
Yeah, and our kids actually are getting old enough to where they go off, and so all the cousins, kind of hung out together, and they'd be running around. We'd see them at the pool periodically, and we weren't too worried about them. They're old enough that they're mature enough that they're not. We weren't concerned that one of them was going to jump off the ship. Let's put it that way.
So what did you learn in that setting? I'm putting you into my little compartments here.
No, this is good. This is good. I think that kids, even younger kids, 12, 13 years old, can be trusted if you give them clarity, you give them parameters, and they can be trusted. And you as a parent probably need to learn how to let go. I'm working on right now, Gary. By the way, I'm working on my second book, and I'm writing all about family and these kind of lessons and legacy, and So these are I'm literally right now putting those lessons down into this book.
Well, your first book is already out there. Unlikely Good: Keys to Tackling Big City Problems Plaguing Your Small Community. So what's this book going to be called?
Well, I don't have the title nailed down yet. I think I have one. I'm not sharing it just yet. But this is really about how do you build a family legacy that lasts for generations, that you're probably not going to get to see the finished product, but you're building a part of it right now.
Did you look at these 28 people, including yourself? Did you have a chance to, because I know you're a guy that looks at things and internalizes stuff a lot of times. Did you have a chance to sit back and say, wow, look at this. All came out of a couple people getting together, and look, we got 28 people here and probably more on the way, obviously. With grandchildren and so forth. Did you have a moment to do that during this trip?
Oh yeah, and honestly, that's what's driving me. I turned 50 this year, having my own 6 kids, and then now 3 of my kids are married, and I've got, like I said, a second grandbaby on the way. I'm doing that a lot these days, where I'm just sitting back and kind of marveling at what the way God has blessed us, and trying to say, well, what have I learned? And what have I learned? What mistakes have I made? And what's yet to be learned and experienced.
Yeah, I know. I'm a few years older than you than that, another quarter of a century, and I sit back and do that a lot now and think about the mistakes that you've made and things. I'm not a big if I could do this all over again kind of person, but I am a person who does look back and analyze where different things were and mistakes I did make. But I'm not a I could do this all over again. I'm more of an appreciator of where all that has taken us and the things we can do better, and you do look back on stuff like that a lot. You take stock of where you've been, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a good perspective actually, Gary, because I think a lot of people think about what would I do differently. There's some value in that, but also I'm a big believer also in God's grace and wisdom and how things kind of happen, and beautiful things even are built out of messy stuff.
And I look at that, and I think about forgiveness and all those kind of things. I'm more in that track of where that is, because I have a great belief that forgiveness is there. But you beautifully laid out where you were this morning, despite all the kidding we did. But I think it's really important that you take something away from things that you have and be appreciative of it and all of that. And it sounds like you're very much always in that direction. But now, are we going to be with you again next week, by the way?
You will be with me next. Yep,
there it is.
I'm around. Yes, sir.
I know now to check, because you are and thank you for all you do. Seriously, my friend, I do appreciate it, and always good to have you on here on a Thursday morning.
It's good to be back with you, Gary. And,
Thanks,
and make sure you give Mark a hug for me.
I'm not going to give him a hug for you. You can do that yourself. And people can go to AaronJAnderson.com, by the way, order your book, Unlikely Good. But you're going to have another one out there, and we're looking forward to seeing that one soon. And thanks for joining us this morning, Aaron. Have a great rest of your week.
Hey, you too, Gary.
Take care. Thanks. Aaron J. Anderson .com. You can check it out there. But Aaron with us here this morning.
Is there a guy more productive than Aaron? Is there anyone more productive?
I don't think so. The guy wears so many hats.
He does.
I mean, he just is and he's always involved in something. And by the way, if you go to AaronJAnderson.com, he's got a whole lot of blogs that he's posted now. He's putting things up there. I think the most recent one that I was looking at there was the right leader for the season, which he posted on June 25th. So, check out he's a very good writer. The 3 seasons of organizational growth. He really gets into a lot of this kind of stuff and thinks about things. So take a look at that. You might agree, you might disagree, but you appreciate the fact someone's given it some thought. We'll take a break. We'll come back with some final thoughts here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. One of my favorite singers, by the way. Oh, yeah. And this is a good song. It's for
Mr.
a movie.
Yacht Rock.
Yeah, he is Mr. Yacht Rock. He's on all the time on Yacht Rock. Yeah, Kenny Loggins. Here you go.
It's a long one.
And by the way, Kenny Loggins, if you see him today, doesn't look like Kenny Loggins.
No. That's what he looked like when I met him.
Yeah, exactly right. You met him.
Back in the day. Way back. Before Yacht Rock.
This Is It was one of my favorite songs.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that song. But I like this song, Footloose.
Yeah, Footloose from...
was good.
Was it from the movie Footloose?
Yes. By the way, summer storm warning. 1 minute it's sunny, the next is a downpour. Now today, it's going to be okay this morning. Looks like it's okay till about 2 o'clock today in the New York area. And then there's a chance for thunderstorms. If your wipers smear or skip, by the way, replace them before your trip. And make sure that you have plenty of washer fluid. Clear vision matters, especially on the highways if you want help. Jack G. and Balvo family of dealerships is ready to help you right now. They want to be your perfect road trip companion during this summer. In other words, they're not the ones that are always saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? They want to make sure you get there, and they get there safely. And they've got a whole line of pre-owned vehicles ready for you. SUVs for the family, trucks for adventure, sedans for the daily drive. Wherever the road takes you, ladies and gentlemen, Jack G. and Balvo is your special companion, and they've got a vehicle to get you there. And with their hassle-free, pressure-free approach, it is easy, I mean really easy, to find the one you love. Plus, they have free PA state inspections for you and anybody in your household, 3-month, 3,000-mile warranties included on most pre-owned vehicles, and vehicles that go through a wonderful, rigorous inspection to make sure that they are roadworthy before they ever reach your interest. Jack G. and Balvo has been doing that for 50-plus years, establishing trust, quality cars, and reliable service. And they are ready to help you today. Go to GMBalvoPreOwnedInventory.com, and you will see all the inventory they have at 6 great locations, like the 2026 Mazda CX-30 2.5S, $26,997 for Jack G. and Balvo right now, and ready to get out there for you. They've also got the 2026 Mazda CX-50 2.5 Turbo, $37,497, and it's ready right now for you at Jack G. and Balvo, and so many more of that inventory, like the 2023 Ford F-150 Lariat, $54,995, located at Jack G. and Balvo family of dealerships. They want to be your perfect companion, and they are ready to help you today. Pick out a car that's going to fit your pocketbook, it's going to fit your situation, and you can find them at GMBalvoPreOwnedInventory.com. Jack G. and Balvo, family of dealerships. Go further this summer and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you.
A couple of posts, the text line. Interesting trivia about Ike Turner. Turner began playing piano in childhood, performed with the Kings of Rhythm as a teenager. His first recording, Rocket 88, credited to Jackie Brenson and his Delta Cats, widely regarded as a contender for the first Rock and Roll Hall of first song in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And another one, great segments with The Wolf and Dr. Sears. Who knew about Prince?
Yeah, there it was, and was a great basketball player. We found out this morning from Chris Markowski. News you might have missed, President Trump says the ceasefire with Iran is over, and of course, it happens right after I book my summer vacation to Karg Islands. I mean, where they have all the oil and stuff. Yeah. I'm kind of like Aaron Anderson. I'm booking it at places I shouldn't book it. Yeah. President Trump says Iran is trying to kill him. Hold my beer and cholesterol. So the reflective pool in D.C. was drained to remove firework debris. Firework debris removal in Alabama means sweeping up beer empties and fingers. So that's what it's all about. And I'm just saying. You liked that, did you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, there you go.
We did get some sad news today, though.
Yes, we did.
Total Eclipse of the Heart made her the first Welsh person to top the charts in the U.S. Another 80s hit was originally recorded for the film Footloose. Holding Out for a Hero also appeared in Shrek 2 decades later. Tyler, the daughter of a coal miner, was born Geiner Hopkins. Her singing career kicked off with a local talent competition. She continued touring into her 70s. Her family says the 75-year-old passed away in a hospital in Portugal as a result of an illness she was being treated for. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
In the mood for an angry cheesesteak or perhaps a Gary Sutton Show burger or maybe an Augie's Doggy, then you're in the mood for Augie's Joint, which is open today, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Central Market. Why don't you stop up there and have lunch where people are lining up? I was up there yesterday, the day before, got sandwiches. I had an Augie's Doggy yesterday. I had a Swiss Room cheesesteak the day before, and they're fantastic. I'm telling you what, the best rolls. Augie, Jewel, Lindsay, Elijah are all cooking up a storm up there. Why don't you stop by today, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Augie's Joint for the best lunchtime sandwiches here in New York, right there at the Central Market. Go in the Beaver Street side, and they are right inside the door. Hope you had a great time listening to the show today. Don't forget Revs Baseball tonight, 6:25, 6:45 first pitch. I'm Gary Sutton for Mark McKenzie. Have a great day. It's 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes. You can turn your mic off, by the way.